This is a warning to all living mortals, that who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's kind of strange. You looking at the leafy range. I can't tell if you're in bed. Or have you picked your target yet? Listen, dear. Got your dog bite. Listen, dear.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
You about to witness hip-hop in its most purest, most rawest form, flow, almost flawless, most hardest, most honest, known artist. Chip off the old block, but old Doc is back. Looks like Batman brought his own Robin. Oh God, Saddam's got his own Laden. Off the hinges, oranges, peach, pears, plums, oranges. Yeah, here I come, I'm inches away from you, there, fear none. Hip-hop is in a state of 911, so let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around, what is this? Must be a circus in town, let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness? Hell yeah. Let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around, what is this? Must be a circus in town, let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness?
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
Hello, how you guys doing, everyone? It is Saturday afternoon. It is way out of sync for our normal time slot here, but we're here. We're happy. I'm not even wearing a real t-shirt today. That's how in the mood I am for this Saturday night, because it is WrestleMania weekend, just in case you guys didn't realize. And no, I will not be streaming WrestleMania for you guys at all, because that's entirely too much work, or who knows, maybe I'll get lazy on Sunday and decide. And then again, tonight's kind of a better show. I'll figure it out later on. But until then, we're here for episode 146 of the Barroom Podcast. I got a couple of very handsome gentlemen here joining me early here on this show. Let's give a good little shout out to our good buddy on the West Coast, Mr. Eddie Brock. How's it going there?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. It's way too early, but it's suncast, so it's not even like it's like 60.
I mean, your sun's still like peeking out over on your side of the country.
Yeah,
right now. It's
weird. I like to point out now. I got it. Cider brought up the thing now. Every time I hear that song now, I'm going to think of H1B. H1B. H1B.
And also joining us somewhere on the noon moon of Maine is our good buddy Cider Hype. How's it going over there, friend?
The new moon of Maine. All right, okay, all right. Yeah. I'll take it.
That was great.
With the Ewoks.
You are like close enough to, what is it, like Halifax, where they have like a time zone is even further away from Eastern time zone. So you are pretty close to that location as well too.
Right.
So
I'm the vampire. I'm the vampire. He's the werewolf.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like when I found out, like, wait, there's actually a time zone even further than East Coast. I thought it was just like water, like over there. I didn't think there was anything.
No, it's worse. It's Canadians.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If there was some kind of way to just like wipe Canada completely away, except for Alberta, they seem to be the only cool ones there. But the rest of them, they can all just go away. I don't think we need any of them at this point. But the point of that, we are here.
Well, Jacob, Wait, there has been a plan to do just that since before we signed the Articles of Confederation into law, which was before the Constitution. That's right. Before this nation was formalized as a nation, we had a plan to invade Canada.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we have been working on that one, Jacob, for quite a while.
Viva Quebec.
That's right. If we could just do that Ultron thing with Quebec, right? We just put the boosters underneath it and just launch it into space. That would be great. Just boom, take Quebec and send it off.
The floating island of Quebec.
It's either gonna go one of two ways. It's either gonna go like that the day after tomorrow, where like the world freezes over, that Canada just becomes an ice block, that everyone dies and everyone tries to like run down here, or it'll just be like a zombie apocalypse and everyone tries to go up there to stay away from people. And then of course they realize it's too cold and they all die anyway. So
to be fair though, they will taste delicious as zombies because of all that maple syrup.
Mm-hmm. This is one thing that we talk about here. This is a kind of a sidebar rant, but we all know The Walking Dead, right? And we all know the concept.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that I just don't understand about how the zombies in The Walking Dead work, is that you would think that under normal circumstances, zombies are basically just walking dead corpses. They have no life. They have no heat signature or like anything like that. They're just going around eating people. Okay, so you figure that being in a location where it's like perpetually cold and frozen would be ideal, because quite literally all the zombies during a certain part of the year would just freeze to death. Like they would just turn into like literally shells. They would turn, you can like smash them so easily. You can carve, like Canada ideally would probably be the best location for them. But then you just see episodes of The Walking Dead while they're crawling through the snow, and I was like, how are they like moving like generally when it's like negative 13 degrees outside? That literally defies physics. It's like, are we just not using any common sense or logic with this whatsoever?
Well, you have to realize that these zombies survived World War I, so they remember back in the days in the trenches. You know.
Oh, man.
We also have like they're the Game of Thrones zombies. That's the ones. That's when you look.
Oh
for
God,
Game of
yeah,
Thrones zombies.
those are the worst ones.
And they're not really dead. They're just white people.
Yeah,
You know?
blue-eyed white people.
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me what the messaging of the Ice King is.
Well, I mean, hey, they're bringing back 28 years later, the 28 weeks later zombies. Those are the ones that basically run and chase you like Usain Bolt, like those type of zombies that never run out of energy whatsoever.
Those ones are weird too.
Meth zombies.
Yeah.
How come they don't fall apart? Like their whole body's deteriorating, going faster to make you pop.
It's like they literally change in like 3 seconds, and then the next thing you know, they're just like sprinting like 20 miles an hour. So it's like, even if you're not fat guys like a couple of us here, it's like you're screwed. I mean, you're not gonna be able to outrun these things. Like, what are you gonna do? Well, let's get into some of the
28 seconds later. Is
that'd be mine? Yeah, absolutely. I'd lay down like that dude in front of the lawnmower in The Happening. All right, zombies, take me.
Like, okay,
no,
I'm pretty sure
we wouldn't do that. No.
Okay, so real quick, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen at least the first 28 Days Later movie, where there was the one scene where the father is like looking up at like a zombie body, and like the blood goes into his eye. Because the blood goes into his eye, he turns to a zombie, and he's going through this whole spiel. It's like, oh, Katie, I love you. Just remember, Daddy always loved you, something like that, knowing he's gonna turn in like 5 seconds. I'm just thinking to myself, if you know you're gonna turn in 5 seconds, wouldn't like the cry would be, kill me now, I'm literally about to turn. It's like,
yeah, or just do it yourself. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing, man? Like, you know how this is gonna go. There's one way forward here.
Hurry up.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean that was one of the Japanese games about zombies. I think is that once you were bit, the policy of the military was to shoot yourself. That was how that was supposed to go. You don't bother, don't seek help, just die.
Just die.
It sounds very Japanese.
Yeah, but then again, you can't just like stab yourself in the stomach if you're bitten by a zombie. That's not. You're just causing more pain for yourself.
Not even pain. It's just like like that. What is that? What was the one where they're all stuck in the mall?
You're sushi.
Left 4 Dead, right? That's just a Left 4 Dead zombie. He's got a sword sticking out of his stomach where he tried to harakiri himself, and it didn't work because it wasn't the brain.
Dummy. Yeah. Neozoic here, he says that hello barroom comedians, clowns, jokers, and pranksters here in the chat. Silly question, which of the 4 martial art comedy films would you rather watch? Kung Fu Hustle, Black Dynamite, Drunken Master, or Shaolin Soccer?
Bend it like Beckham.
So
Yeah,
Kung
right.
Fu Hustle was when I was 14 years old, and I absolutely loved it because I absolutely loved kung fu movies and all the crazy martial arts stuff. So it was perfect. And then the screaming tongue, I almost puked laughing when I saw that. So yes, I'm all set. That was great. It's a tongue within a tongue. It's great. It's a little tongue inside of the tongue. It's perfect.
Yep. Yeah, I'd probably go with Kung Fu Hustle as well. Out of these,
Is that
yeah,
Kung? Is that Kung Pao?
Oh, I'm
no.
thinking of Kung Pao. That's right. That's the one with the white guy pretending to be Bruce Lee, not
Yeah.
the Chinese one where they run around like Looney Tunes. That's my
Right.
bad. My bad.
Kung,
So
Kung Pao.
it would be Black Dynamite then out of this one. Because Black Dynamite had like, but Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community. You know, that was, I love that line. I think of it all the time.
So we're not going with the angry Asian lady with all the rolling pins in her hair.
You can. I just, out of these ones, because I had it mixed up with Kung Pao. Out of these ones, Black Dynamite's the best one in my opinion. That's just me though.
All right.
To be fair,
And
Show
then-
Enough should be in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the entry was it Son of the Dragon?
Mhm.
Was that the name of it? Or
I think
the
so. Yeah.
Son of a Dragon or something like that?
Mhm.
It was a Black Bruce Lee movie. That was
Who
great.
is the master? Show Enough.
And then bonus question here: what's your favorite moment from Mystery Science Theater 3000? I like where the little shadowy figures in the bottom right screen talk and make jokes throughout the movie.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Very good.
I always enjoy when Tom starts singing. There's never been a song that Tom has sang that did not entertain me in just a little bit. So
I personally liked it back when they did the inventions. Like they had Joel.
Invention Exchange.
Yeah, the Invention Exchange. I thought that was really fun. I just remembered, for whatever reason, the Steve Allen Steve-O-meter to prove that if Steve Allen created it, you wave a wand, and if Steve Allen thought of it, then Steve thought of it. So that just pops in my head like randomly every like 2 or 3 months. That's a great joke. I don't know why.
What else we got here? Dobafett here. He said he would go with Shaolin Soccer is one of his favorites. He imported the DVD back in 2001. Showed it to his friends. They all love it. Remember imports? Remember when imports were a thing? Remember buying imports at Suncoast back in the day?
Remember national sovereignty?
No, we used to have like we used to bring in old like Mexican versions of movies on videotape. Mm-hmm. So the first time I watched Richie Rich was in Spanish. So I thought Richie Rich was like this white Mexican kid, like walking around just ordering people what to do and everything.
And then you saw the real version. It was like, what is this sorcery?
What is this?
I thought you were talking like the Turkish versions, but it was Mexican. So in my mind, I was thinking of like a little Mexican rich boy ordering everybody around. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what it looked
By
like.
the way, you definitely need to check out Turkish Doctor Who and Turkish Star Trek. Doctor Hui and Captain Hui are hilarious.
Oh, God. Okay, that sounds like a disaster.
Captain Hui.
Who else we got here? Top Dog is here with us tonight as well. It says, in honor
Today.
of WrestleMania week, he says that which match do you think is better, Bret and Austin or Austin at Rock? I would say Bret and Austin is probably a better match. Austin Rock at 17, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't even think that was the best WrestleMania match those two have had. I like 19 far better than I like the 17 match.
Yeah. Yeah, Bret and Austin is the greatest match that WWE has ever produced. I have shown that to 70-year-olds who stopped watching and they fall in love with it. So
yeah, I know they just recently did their list of greatest WrestleMania matches, which was just a bunch of nonsense if we're completely honest with ourselves. But they opted to go with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, where they kept tombstoning each other and kept kicking out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" and just ruined wrestling for 15 years because then everyone just started kicking out of their finishers.
Yeah.
Sacramento says, "Hey everyone." Those says, "How much is the tickets to be?" Yeah, we've covered this before. The tickets for the Vegas WrestleMania are absolutely absurd. I know they have lowered them because, like I said, we're only just a few hours away from the show, and they're trying to fill in as many people as they can. So they basically had no choice but to lower tickets at the last minute. Imagine being the asshole who actually paid $15,000 to get WrestleMania tickets.
Imagine being an influencer that went out of your way.
That was another story, just real quick, that I thought about talking about, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you guys recall, it was Coachella, because we did talk about it a little bit last week here on the show. But apparently, over 100,000 people who went to Coachella financed their tickets, meaning that they either put them on credit cards or they got like essentially advanced payment plans just so they can go to essentially an overpriced music festival to watch garbage films. And I was like, these people are just the stupidest people in the entire. And these are the same ones who are like, forgive my student loan debt. I mean, meanwhile, you just took out student loan debt on Coachella. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
So, Morning Mayhem's joining us here. Shout out to Morning Mayhem. Hopefully, I can get back on your show here in a couple of weeks too. Love to do that. Maurice Johnson saying that hey, Saturday something good to eat at noon on a Saturday. Yeah, some of you guys are still eating like their cinnamon toast crunch and watching cartoons this time of the day. But yeah. JC, are we doing a WrestleMania stream tonight? Not this weekend, unfortunately. Doesn't look like we'll be doing a WrestleMania stream. One, because it got other stuff going on, too. And then two, let's be honest with you, it's not that great of a card. I mean, if you look at WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, I think on paper, the Sunday show looks better. The Saturday show looks better on paper than the one tonight. But, I mean, that's only if you really truly care about who wins between Cody and Cena, or who cares about, like, Jey Uso becoming champion tonight. Like, that really just defines what you really think about tonight's, this week's end show. So, we can skip this one out tonight. What else do we got here? Zombies were started as a mythical being before a sci-fi monster. Morning Man gets suggestion chicken bacon sandwich, you know. What else do we have here? Dead Rising. I think I did. Is it Dead Rising or Dead Rising 2? I do have one of those two games on the PS3, so I haven't checked those out. 28 days later. Yeah, I did go see that Sinners movie this weekend. I saw the whole thing with what was it? Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld and Ryan Coogler and all that. And here's my honest view of that film. The first 90-ish minutes are actually pretty good. Like, there isn't much to complain about. I think the problem is that the whole supernatural element with the vampires and all that stuff is completely shoehorned in, where it doesn't feel like it's gelling with the first half of the movie at all. Then, of course, it goes on so long because it's 2 hours and 17 minutes, and it does not need to be 2 hours and 17 minutes at all. You just get like this overdone and over-the-top ending, which takes away from the movie itself, where, oh, we have to kill a bunch of racist white foreigners and Southerners, because, you know, that's the thing, you know, they're from the Klan, so it's okay when we shoot them 700 times and stuff like that. That's kind of what they're pushing there, and it's like, that doesn't even go with the actual theme or like the ending of the movie itself. It's like, you had your big blow-up movie, your ending when you killed all the vampires, but it's like, yeah, but we haven't killed the Klan yet, and that's our moneymaker right there. So it does way too much, especially towards the second half where the film really just completely falls apart. But at the same time, we know that, you know, most modern critics, they can't criticize anything that are done by black people, or else by their own metrics, they're racist. So that's basically where it is. Yeah, you're saying like 99% on the movie's not that good. It is not that good, trust me. So there we are. So with all the stuff going on here, we got a couple of interesting topics to go through here tonight. I'm going to start with one that's going to get a lot of heat from my perspective, because I'm going to say some very, very uncomfortable things for a lot of people. And guess what? I'm going to say it anyway. Let's talk about Katy Perry and her friends going to space, because they went to space this week. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of pushback. Some apologies had to be made. And what's really going on here with this whole situation? So I'm going to play you guys a little bit of the video here. I'll pop it up for the screen so you guys can see it. There we go. This was earlier this week. Katy Perry, Gayle King, and friends. I think like Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, question mark, it was part of this, and a couple of other people who I've never heard of. They all got in some penis-shaped rocket and flew off into space, where they took videos and selfies of themselves on this thing, and this was like a big story, because it's like, oh, they're astronauts. No, that's exactly what it's like. Is that really what happened here? Is that really what's going on? They got a lot of heat and a lot of, pushback about this. People were basically saying that you guys are not even qualified to be astronauts and stuff like that. And there's been a lot of talk about what was really going on here, whether this whole thing was faked or whether it was not. I have a couple of videos I can show you guys here, but I always thought it was weird that every time they go up to space, it's like you can never actually see like any stars in space, because I remember at a time period like during the first moon landing that they said, oh yeah, no, you can totally see like, you know, the stars. And then they went back on and say, well, no, actually you can't see the stars. And then more recently they realized that's a logical fallacy. So it's like, oh no, you can totally see the stars up in space, because the idea here is that, well, you can see the stars here on the Earth, and how come you can't see the stars the closer you get to the atmosphere in the orbit of the Earth? How come all of a sudden you can't see the stars anymore? So they flip-flop on that a couple of times here, but this is the whole big thing with this video that went viral this week. Now, this is where a couple of things happened here, because one, allegedly, and I'm going to say here allegedly, they said that they had caught them faking the, I guess, what do you call it here? The landing, not the landing, but essentially, you know, oh hey, their ship dropped back down to Earth, and then, you know, something weird happened here. So before Jeff Bezos officially like opens the door and lets them back in, you see that the door kind of opens itself, and then they have to be told by the people who are there, no, don't open it just yet. So here you see the door opening, somebody freaks out and basically tells them to close it again. Now, some people have tried to say, oh no, it's more of a ceremonial thing, and they didn't want to ruin the ceremonial moment. Well, at the same time, you're trying to convince people that they just got locked into an airtight ship that just came back from space, and they had to be the ones to open it from the outside, because if they can open it from the inside, that obviously there's a lot of what's a good word for it, scientific logical inconsistencies with that whole situation. You can argue that part of it all amongst yourself, but no, people were basically saying that you can't do that if you're in an actual spaceship that's going into space and stuff like that. We'll get to that portion of it here in a second. Here's another portion of this whole thing that a lot of people kind of overlooked. It was Katy Perry's comments immediately following the flight here, where she talks about the divine feminine. And this is kind of eye-raising for people who have been paying attention to my Sunday show, because I've mentioned this quite a few times here. But here's her comments after she just came back from space, quote unquote.
It is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust, and this whole journey is not just about going to space.
This looks so
it's the
old.
training.
Oh
it's
my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, Katy Perry has to be close to 40 now, right?
She's a ripe plum.
Really? She looks like she's 50, 55, pushing AARP candidacy. Look at that.
Because you remember, like, Katy Perry, I think she first broke big somewhere between like 2007 and 2008. I want to say it was 2008. Okay, so she actually is 40 years old. So she is 40.
I don't feel so bad now.
Right? So yes,
great looking.
She's not a spring chicken. She's basically been floating in between like the Britney Spears zone, where she's gone from like borderline insane to like straight up insane to, there's a lot of things going on behind closed doors with these women here. We'll talk about her here in a second, but this is her comments here about how she became closer to the divine feminine thanks to this experience.
Team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the,
You
different,
could recommend it more? Through
tools
who?
that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process. This is up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey. And then you're feeling the love when you come down, for sure. And you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong divine feminine right now.
By the way, you're such a badass. I love that the month of
You're
April
such a badass.
is space, and I'm launching.
Oh my god,
such a badass.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're so amazing.
Such a
Man. You're
badass.
such a doll.
You totally survived Apollo 13, girl.
Yeah, right.
So here's the thing.
Go ahead,
is
and
that
I'll show you here.
this one, the door, that's explainable. But what I want to specify is that I don't believe that they did this. Okay, here's the problem. So when Shatner did it, he talked about the rough landing. He talked about bang, he talked about all the action that was going on inside of that pod when it landed. Now, the big thing is that why aren't we landing a pod on solid ground with no boot? Why are we lying? Why Why are we well, you know, if one of those parachutes just happens to not work out, boom, there goes Gail King at terminal velocity into the desert floor.
Bye, Katy Perry. Right?
The reason why we were dropping astronauts into the ocean, and that's why the door opens from the inside now, because previously it didn't. All right. Now, of course, this is because of structural issues, but we did solve that because we did have Apollo astronauts die in the capsule because they couldn't get out. And so that is possible. However, Gail King and the gang figuring out how to open the door and oopsie daisying it does not help the case that this was an actual flight. Because if just a TV host can just go, whoops, I'm pretty sure that's not like even.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss my cue?
Excuse me.
The submarine has the and those are hull doors inside the submarine, not the motherfucker to get out.
Everybody in that pod was like, room keeping, please, I'm busy.
So,
well, not only that, but you figure that with any kind of space exploration, that there's like decompression issues, or there's actual scientific issues related to this that don't add up to what we're being told here.
So let's say that they handled that still. Okay, let's say they handled that. Let's say that's okay. It's still very bizarre that a TV host was like, time to go, and just click open the door like it was a hotel, like a bathroom fucking door. It's a little much, you know. And then the other thing about this is that on your topic about light, when it comes to seeing the stars and stuff, the aperture capture ability of even our most advanced cameras is not as advanced as the human eye. So your human eye can see those stars out there, but the cameras can't. Sort of like how when we have the light on behind us, you have your window open behind you. It looks like you're in witness protection program in the front. Well, that's what happens is that light is hitting the aperture of the camera from the surface of the moon, surface of the earth, the sun itself, and it's overexposing the light capture. So that's why you can't see the stars in the camera that you can with your bare eyes. However, this does not track, okay? So you have a group of TV stars that have gone up, right? We did it with Shatner. Shatner came back. These women, however, have brought projectiles. There's a reason why the astronauts are belted down, helmets, all this jazz. Now, again, Shatner went up without it, but he didn't have trinkets, and you can hear fucking wind chimes going on during this whole thing. That becomes a shuriken. These things, the capsule is moving at like I don't think it's breaking the sound. It could be breaking the sound barrier, but it's going fast enough anyway that if your earring comes off, there's a good chance it's going to hurt something, especially when it starts bouncing around inside of there. The other thing is that in a zero-G environment, these things can end up constricting your throat. You notice how the astronauts don't have their fucking dog tags on? And that, again, like it's one of those things where like there's a lot of problems with this, and Amazon has every incentive to fake this. Because who the fuck is Blue Origin now that Elon is catching rockets midair? Now that Elon's saying we're going to Mars by 2027. I pointed. I did not do this. I did this. Just so you know, I just realized I raised my right arm and I said, Elon.
CM Punk's getting very angry at you about that.
Yeah, right. I pointed. You couldn't see it, but I pointed. So anyway, and that's what's going on, is that Amazon has every reason to fake this. Bezos has every reason to fake this, and they can do that. It's very easy to fake this stuff now. Look at the volume. Look at the volume that they make the Mandalorian in. You're going to tell me that they can't do that in a warehouse? And again, you're going to tell me they can't do that inside of one of those Hercules jets? This thing is only the size of your backyard gazebo. Look at the space that they're in. It's only the size of your backyard grilling gazebo. That'll fit in the back of a Hercules plane. No problem at all. What are the military Hercules? What do? You nosedive that motherfucker and everybody gets weightless for a few minutes.
So, I mean, like I said, there's a number of issues associated with this whole thing. Eddie, I want you to go on here first. So I might go a bit on my rant.
So, like, first of all, like, I saw that picture before where she's like looking into the mirror, looking into the window and seeing her reflect. You could tell these are the kind of women that are surprised that mirrors work. Like, they don't understand. No, there's a fourth dimension on the other side of this.
That's the other me. Oh my God. Hi, other me.
Right. There has to be like some other person on the other side that thinks just like I do. And they're in space. Oh my goodness. I totally believe Cider in the idea that there's probably a painted background of the Earth, because really they're surrounded by just surrounded by a bunch of clouds underneath them. Oh my goodness. There's no anything else, really? There's not even just water, like plain. There's no open space on this Earth area. Also, they're treating this whole thing, this whole publicity scam, like this is the first women in space. This is not the first women in space. Yeah. This is some fucking celebrities in space that we already had a great celebrity in space, one that actually pretended to go to space, actually went. A fucking chimp and a dog went into space. This isn't even the first. These aren't the first bitches in space. So
might be the first case of chlamydia in space, though.
Maybe, especially with Katy Perry watching around, Gayle King and everything. They literally had the Today Show in a fucking capsule in the middle of the Mojave Desert to pretend they went into space. They went into a fucking teepee.
We know for a fact that Jeff Bezos' girlfriend has something. Like, I don't know what it is, but we know that it's somewhere on.
Eddie, to your point though about this capsule, is that Shatner, when he did it, he came out and talked about the hard landing. He was rubbing his back. He was moved to tears over the experience. These guys are like, "Oh my god, that was so much fun!"
Yeah, no idea how embracing it was to feel like the energy spirit like touching me, and I could see the blue thing, and that's why we're called Blue Origin. You guys, you should subscribe to my webpage and my
girl power.
Not to mention, I believe the entire like travel time for this experiment was like something of like 12 minutes. So it's like they got up there on the rocket, got shot up, took selfies at the very, very top, and then landed all in the course of like 12 minutes.
Yeah,
which
that is the experience of Blue Origin. Shatner was up there for about 20 minutes. That is the experience of Blue Origin. That's why there's no pilot, is that it's just designed to go up and come back. That's it. It doesn't have any destination other than bringing you back down to Earth. Which, again, they landed it in the desert before with Shatner. But again, he remarked on how rough the landing was. He was rubbing his back, and he was moved to tears over actually seeing this. These are like, whoa, look at the moon. Whoa, look at the Earth. Like you're at the Children's Museum, and you're in a simulated shovel. It's going to launch you like a catapult into the stars. But a simulated shuttle. It's not the reaction that people look. These women will be moved to tears watching a Lady Gaga concert. So you're going to tell me witnessing the whole entire summation of human existence doesn't make them go, instead they're doing fucking handstands in space? Come on.
So, like, look.
Oh, by the way, Katy Perry is going on tour next week, so I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, right. Great
not real. Taylor Swift didn't go. It's not real.
So there's a lot of ways that I can break down this video.
Taylor Swift can't leave her. She's cursed by God to never leave her.
No, just like Satan, she'll never ascend.
So like I said, there's a lot of things going on here. I understand that people are kind of breaking down that there are some occultic elements to this as well. You see Katy Perry here holding the little butterfly symbol, and of course she'll say, "Oh, this is just for my tour, album / whatever the case may be." A lot of people have noted that, there's a lot of butterfly symbolism talking about the Monarch program, which goes into mind control, and especially in Hollywood. You wonder why all these people in Hollywood just go crazy all of a sudden. It seem like really, really weird. And it's like no one knows what's going on behind closed doors, but then maybe they're telling you right to your face, right? I know people are pointing out the patch, saying that when you move the patch upside down, it sort of looks like a Baphomet head, and that goes all the way back to the Knights Templar. Like, I completely understand that. I'm not even talking about it from that aspect. I think there's a much bigger story going on here with this whole situation, right? It's like a few months ago, there was a movie that Hollywood did, which is basically them subtly admitting that, hey guys, we're not saying that the moon landing was fake, but we're saying the moon landing was fake, right? It was one of those type of things. The hint is like, we actually did go to the moon, but we did kind of fake it as a background, but like that whole situation, and you're supposed to believe that. And then you have this and a lot of other instances that we've seen over the course of the last several months too. I'm now 1000% convinced that we've never actually gone to space, because I think that thanks to NASA, and let's be honest, Hollywood, and it's kind of weird how they're all kind of colluding together here in this whole situation. They've basically sold people on an idea of space that doesn't actually exist. I think there's actually a strong reason for this, is that one of the stories that I haven't talked about this in great depth with a Bible lens, I mentioned that where I was going to do this, but I haven't really talked about it. One of the greatest stories of the Bible that I think is completely and utterly overlooked is the story of the Tower of Babel. And what was the story of the Tower of Babel? You had man create a giant tower, which I believe they estimated was about 4,000 feet high, when God basically said, no, we're not doing this anymore, and stopped them to confuse the language and all that good stuff. But what were they actually trying to accomplish with that? They were trying to, quite literally, if you believe the biblical account here, they were trying to find a way to get back into heaven, right? And then God stopped them. And ever since then, they've never been able to make anything remotely close to the Tower of Babel thousands of years ago. And every time I look at all of these space explorations and things of that nature, I think to myself, are we basically just trying to reattempt the mission of the Tower of Babel using modern technology? And I feel like that's what a lot of these explorations are doing. Because here's the thing, and some people are going to disagree with this, but I'm just going to tell it to you plainly. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, the moon is fake and the sun is fake. And no, there's a moon. There's clearly a moon. There's clearly a sun. I'm not arguing that perspective of it. And this isn't even a whole concept about like, is the earth a spinning ball or is it like a flat disc? I don't think that is either one. I don't think that we're in a spinning ball or a flat disc floating in the ether, right? But what I do believe here is that these individuals had a mission that they've been trying to recharge over and over and over again. And one of the reasons why, this is what we're told by NASA, these are their sources. We're told that after the initial moon landing, that they somehow lost the ability to go back to the moon again. This is, I think, back in the 70s, where there was like, oh, NASA somehow lost the blueprints, whatever the case may be, to basically do the same moon landing that they did several years earlier. So now all we're seeing here are these tests and these rockets that are going up in space, and we have people that are floating at basically the tippy top of our orbit, but no one can go any further than that. They tell you that, oh no, there's a whole bunch of planets all over the solar system. There's Venus and Mercury and Mars is always the one everyone's talking about here. But it's like we never, in all the years of human advancement, we've never actually gotten to a point where we can physically ascend to one of these locations that they're out there, but it's always somewhere in orbit. Every time you see, like, say, a space station, wherever the case may be, it's always some kind of orbital play here. I don't think that we have the ability to escape into this place called outer space like we've been telling us for so many years. I do very much believe that there is a firmament that is protecting this earth that they can't get out of. And all of these explorations, all of these attempts to try to go out in space is their idea or their way of trying to break the ceiling that they can't get over to, because guess what? It's being protected by God. Why are we shooting rockets and nuclear weapons, which we have done in the past? It's well documented that we've done this. Why are we doing all this? Because they're trying to find some kind of way to break through, and they can't break through. And this is what I think is the bigger secret above all. You can talk about the kind of occult connections to this whole thing. You can talk about the things that Katy Perry has been doing and Jeff Bezos and Amazon, all these other things. I think the bigger story here is that they're trying to find some kind of way to escape Earth and make it back to the heavens, and they can't. And there's a reason why they can't. Yet the reason why they can't tell you that is because if you accept the fact that there is something preventing them from actually leaving Earth, leaving the planet altogether, then that obviously goes into the biblical account that, yeah, there is something that is physically keeping us here, which leads people to believe that, hey, guess what? God is real, the Bible is real, all these stories are real, but they don't want you to know that, so they just keep you in this whole swivel of, oh no, yeah, we're trying to get to Mars, and trust me, in 2 years we'll go to Mars. And somebody even mentioned that we've been saying that for like 15 years now at this point, and we just keep doing it over and over again. And I think people are so married to this idea of space and NASA and whatnot for decades upon decades, and I think the reason why that is the case is because people don't even stop for one second to realize, it's like, okay, where's your idea of space actually come from? Because you haven't seen any of this stuff, right? You can't confirm with your own eyes. All this stuff comes from essentially NASA and Hollywood entertainment. And we've essentially been conditioned to believe that all these things are a reality. No one's actually questioning. It's like, are these guys actually lying? Is there something more going on here? Because, like I said, I don't believe anything regarding this whole situation. I don't believe that these I'm gonna be nice here. I don't believe that these harlots actually went to outer space and became astronauts for 15 minutes throughout the day. I think that there's a lot of fudging of the numbers, and there's a lot of, hey, look over there, don't pay attention to what's going over here being played in front of our eyes. This is why I think this is the most interesting situation about this. And
Let's
I didn't
assume
hold
that's
this
true.
Go
Let's
ahead.
assume that's true, though, Jacob. That means that the amount of technology we have to fare in space is vastly below what we're being told, like vastly above what we're being told. If you could just take some TV stars and some singer celebrities that have barely any experience on a yacht, let alone going in any type of aeronautics type of experiment, the closest thing they've ever been to an official is wearing this stupid uniform. And you can just truck them up there and bring them back with no issues, no training, no what do you do when you can't breathe in space? No, hey, I had a dookie in my space underwear. You know, what do you do when you have to go wee wee in 0G? None of that.
Yeah.
And guess what? If that is the case, then we are being lied to about our space capabilities by even Elon Musk. And I highly doubt that. So,
like I said, I don't look at it from the perspective of, well, if that means if this is true, then all these people are not, maybe they are all in on it. I just kind of look at it from a logical perspective of, we were told back in the 1960s when the initial moon landing happened that, hey, we had the capability then to send a bunch of people to outer space, to the moon, land there successfully, and then come back all in one swoop. Somehow in the course of the last few years, we lost that ability. However, we still have, a good, let's say 50 years technological advances between then and now that, hey, look, we can at least send people up to orbit for a few minutes and then come back. We should have at least gained the ability in that same time period to be able to send people. We should have already have a colony on the moon if that is the case, right? Sure, you can say, okay, well, we had a plan then, we lost it, but there was nobody else who could figure out a new plan with all the technological advances. I think what happened here is that we were told a story then, and as time went on, people started to question it more and more. They realized, okay, well, there's logical fallacies in the story if we're to believe it as it is. So they had to come up with an explanation to cover up those fallacies. And then the next thing you know, it's basically what you're trying to do with like a lie. When you're trying to protect a lie over time, it gets harder and harder to protect it because people will start essentially looking at the things that you said previously and looking at the things you're doing now. It's like, well, wait a second, that doesn't match up what you guys said several years ago. So you just kind of put yourself in this position where it's like, okay, let's ignore what we said then and then try to pretend like we never actually said it. But it's like, guys, there's been plenty of enough, documentaries and, interviews from astronauts, people who are working on this team, what people were saying then, what people are saying now. It's like, this isn't matching up. So somebody's lying about something. Now, I can't sit here and say that I know exactly the depth of the lie that they're telling us. All I'm saying is that there is a very, very key element to this entire story that we're purposely not being told. And I don't know who's going as far to try to keep this from us or what the case may be, but I do believe that we're not being told the truth about a multitude of things, this one being probably one of the biggest.
I don't believe they're telling the truth about this thing. I think if Jeff Bezos created if Jeff Bezos created a TP that you can get into and experience zero gravity in without any kind of repercussion or anything, I think that's awesome. Like, you sell that. I wouldn't mind buying that, Jeff Bezos, because to make me believe that these people went. I could believe Shatner because Shatner went up with professionals also. There's no professionals inside of this entire fucking apparatus. And they went up and they came back down. That's what I don't believe. That's why I don't buy it. I don't buy this, at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I believe we can go to space. I don't know if we went to the moon or not, but I believe we went to space. If we went to the moon, it's because we took men to the moon, not fucking celebrity women. And, I don't know. Like I said, if there's a zero gravity TP that I can buy, Jeff, I'll buy it. Like, that's an awesome idea. That's a great party gift. You can create a whole business with that. That's great. But I don't want to believe that you took Katy Perry up and Gayle King and a whole bunch of other grannies that I don't know. And you took them up to the moon you took them up into space for 12 minutes and brought them back down because, wow. By the way, I like to point out that, these celebrities, it's like and subscribe when they get up to the thing. Neil Armstrong's first words when he got onto the moon, when they landed on the moon, yabba dabba do. That's a real man right there.
Yep. Yeah. So
that's documented.
So without turning this into a Bible Lens podcast thing, I just want to enter in that our understanding of the firmament might be a bit limited. And the firmament might mean the actual, like the sun actually produces a shield for us as we understand it. produces a radiation shield that does protect us from quite a bit of shit out beyond its reach. The Voyager probe just showed us this very, very distinct barrier of when that radiation runs out and how awful it is out above, beyond that. So our understanding of the firmament may mean that you don't leave the solar system. There's no alpha gamma 35 out there for us. This is it.
Yeah.
We got the essential 9 and maybe a goblin planet that's Nibiru that's running around here. Maybe that. But that's about it. And that might be what, again, I'm not trying to turn it into a Bible lens, but we might just have the firmament might be a bit more bigger than we think. Because one of the things that throws me off about this is that it makes sense up until we say the Soviets hated our guts. So if space wasn't real, they'd have every incentive to strap a camera on the top of Sputnik and ram it into the firmament and say, "No, Neil Armstrong, you were in the desert in a studio. This is real." And so that didn't happen. We faked the atomic bombs. Remember? Imagine that video where it wipes out the houses and the cars and stuff. How's the camera stay stable?
Yeah.
If it's wiping a house out, what the hell's that camera made out of? We didn't make houses out of that. It didn't even wiggle,
It was inside the refrigerator the whole time.
And so, with Indiana Jones. So this is the thing, is that like they'd have every incentive to do that to do it, and they didn't. They in fact produced a lander that went to Venus and recorded 3 minutes of audio. It's just terrifying in a single picture. Okay, it was terrifying audio. It literally sounds what you'd expect hell to sound like. And so you go out there and you experience the horrors of space, and they did that. So that's why I think the firmament might be a little bit bigger than we think, but it is like there. It's real. And the limitation why we forgot to going to space, I really, to be 1000% honest with you, as crazy as this sounds, I honestly believe that the Rothschilds paid to have this stop. If you take people off Earth, the chance to enslave people, the chance to create their death cult, the fruition of their perfect utopia is ruined. Humanity then spoils and litters the stars and stains the legacy of the prime evil Rothschild family, however you want to do it. So that's what I believe, is that the Club of Rome said, "You're not taking our slaves away from us."
And like I said, I'll be honest here. This is something that, as far as like a topic, I haven't researched enough to really like argue harshly against, but here to just reiterate what I know and what I don't believe with what they're telling us here. Like I said, I'm not one of these people that say that, the sun is fake and the moon is fake. They're not real.
Right.
I think it's very, very clear that both the sun and the moon are inside the firmament, that they rotate around. That gives us the night, that gives us the light of the day and stuff like that. I'm not discounting any of that. What I'm saying is that everything outside of that, when we start talking about essentially the outer solar system and all the other planets around our solar system, my problem is this, is that if it was possible for us to completely leave this planet, I think that there's a lot of people who probably would have left a long time ago, which means that there's something that's keeping us here. Because let's be honest here, if we're believing the Bible as everything that is written in there, there's a lot of unfulfilled prophecies that have to happen here on the earth, not in some other planet, like Mars or anything like that. It's like stuff that has to happen here. So in order for that to happen, that means that people have to be contained here. I think what was happening in the story of the Tower of Babel, which, like I said, kind of gloss over a little bit here, is that they were essentially trying to make their way back to heaven. And there was obviously stories correlating to that, saying that these people may have been inspired by fallen angels that were on the earth at the time, that essentially the angels that rebelled were trying to rebel against God again by making their way into heaven after they were already cast out. And that's essentially what they were trying to do with Babel. Then that's what led to that here. I might just say that these people today are being inspired by those same principles and powers and whatever the case may be. I don't have any evidence to support that. I would not be surprised if it were true. I just say this, is that I think that what we're being told from a mainstream lens, if you're really looking into what's happening, a lot of this comes back from essentially what we've been fed through media, one form or another, whether that's, educational, documentary, Hollywood type stuff. We all been told this story through media, and then we never stop to think to ourselves, well, is it possible that the media is lying to us about this whole thing? Like I said, I think the whole core reason why there's a lot of misinformation about this is because I do believe that in the grand scheme of things, they don't want to lead anyone to a conclusion that leads them to accepting the fact that God is real, that essentially the Bible is real, that all these stories that we've been told are all basically nonsense, that they're all hogwash, because that would lead a lot of people to repent repent and give their life to Christ. And if we believe that we are in a fallen world, that would be probably the last thing a fallen world would want, for a bunch of people to be saved from the penalty of their own nonsense. And that's kind of the way that I look at it. You know, I'm more than willing to do more research on this topic and do a lot of studying, going to a deeper sense. But I just see, like, to me, and especially after I saw this video this week, it's like, guys, I never bought it all into the whole thing that, oh, they're lying to us about the shape of the world, they're lying to us about space exploration. Now I'm kind of like, okay, like, what's really going on here? Because now I feel like you are hiding something from me. I can't really put my finger quite on it, but I no longer believe everything that you're telling me at this point. There's something here that is missing, and I just want to know what the missing part is. And Bonner Rad's kind of right point there. He says that it's science versus faith, which is kind of the grand scheme of things where we're at here. So it could be that as well. Cider, I'm sure that, you know, he backed out here for a second because he lost connection, but he'll be back here just momentarily. Any final thoughts on your end about this whole thing with the Katy Perry and the sluts in space? But that should have just been called sluts in space.
That would have been great. That's how they should have sold it. Hell, I would have bought it. Just like his fucking, I'm serious. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I actually have no idea if they went up or not. If they did, great. It's more celebrities. What I don't understand is, where does Katy Perry go off saying, you know, everyone should experience this? Honey, you're a celebrity. You're the only one who's ever going to experience this. I'm never going to experience this. They're not going to put me in the ship and try to save my life. It's going to be Elon, his kids that don't have real names. And it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a couple of people that I can't even afford to stand next to on a bus. So, you know, I mean, come on, Katie. Think, stupid. Think.
Mm-hmm. I will point this out here before we move over to our next topic. If you guys remember, Katy Perry did the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I mean, it's been like 10 years now, so a couple in the context there, it was a decade ago. And I will say this, I didn't talk about the occult elements of this story because I feel like it's way too broad to kind of make people understand here. But if you recall, this is her at the Super Bowl here, and this is when she was performing her song War, and she was talking about Eye of the Tiger and all that stuff. So everyone was all like, oh yeah, this is a representation of her being on the tiger because she's singing in song. And the whole time I thought to myself, it's like, it's not really a tiger now, is it? It looks a little bit more like a lion. And then when I saw that, I was like, well, who else has been famously positioned to be on top of a lion, to have some kind of occultic religious context here? And I thought to myself, oh yeah, we talked about this on multiple episodes here. You guys remember that demon god Ishtar, one of the three big demon gods of the Bible? In Mesopotamian, ancient and Babylonian times, there are relics that have been found for thousands and thousands of years where they depict Ishtar riding on top of a lion. And these are ancient accounts of Babylonian accounts of Ishtar, this demonic god, and it's all her riding on a lion. You even see it in modern representations here. And I was like, the more I look at that picture, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think that was a tiger she was riding, which means that if it's not a tiger and it is a lion, that's a reference to a demon god. So if you want to know whose team Katy Perry is on, just throwing it out there. I don't think it's Team Jesus. Just throwing it out there.
In her defense, she's also an idiot. She might not have known that it's actually Eye of a Tiger and not Eye of a Lion.
You know what? And I will say this, a lot of these people are insanely stupid. So if they do have one out of this whole thing, I can give them, okay, maybe they're just dumb, but that's probably the only one I can give to them at this point.
That's why they get picked.
Yeah. That's definitely a big
Sorry
reason
about that. Had a Black Hawk helicopter attack. Talked about the Rothschild secret plan to keep space a secret.
I thought it was the Canadians after what you said about them.
The next thing you heard in Cider's house just gets wiped out there.
Yeah, right.
Get your hands,
A-10 Warthog.
Get your hands up in the air, eh?
Yeah. Let's move over to this story. This will be a quick little story here. Parents are now realizing that they can't trust their kids with this YouTube personality called Miss Rachel, because Miss Rachel has a lot of I guess things that she supports that a lot of parents don't want their kids supporting. Here's the thing. I've talked about this in the grander scheme of things. There's a lot of this is the parents' fault. I want to just say there, this is ultimately the parents' fault. You would think that, especially after the last 10, 15 years, that you would realize that Hollywood cannot be trusted with your children. The entertainment world cannot be trusted with your children. So if you're one of these parents out there who's like, oh, just throw on this DVD or just throw on this person, they'll teach him everything that they need to be taught. I'll just send my kids to public school. They'll teach him everything he needs to be taught. If you don't take the effort to raising your own kids, then you're going to come back with kids who are going to learn some stuff you probably don't want them to learn and become people you don't want them to become, because you don't want to take in the full effort of raising your damn children. So that's kind of a forewarning for parents out there. But this is from last year. Kids YouTuber Miss Rachel faces backlash for her Pride Month video. Now, this is a super popular YouTuber on the channel. I don't know how many subscribers she has as of this channel, but she's like a massive channel. So let me see here just real quick.
I think it's 20 million.
At the moment, she has 14.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And like I said, a lot of people, like I said, they'll just put their kids in front of a screen and be like, oh, here, watch Miss Rachel. And, you'll learn some stuff. And like I said, this didn't work for a while, but Miss Rachel, who's a 41, now 42-year-old woman named Rachel Cusero, has amassed a massive amount of followers on YouTube. Some of her videos have well over 100 million views on the platform, so she's super popular. But she got pushback here because I think she did a video talking about Happy Pride Month, and then parents are all like, well, wait a second, I don't want my, Miss Rachel teacher lady be promoting Pride Month. Like I said, maybe you should be raising your own kids. So this is the video people got upset about last year.
Happy Pride to all of our wonderful families and friends. This month and every month I celebrate you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're exactly who you are. To those who are going to comment they can't watch the show anymore because of the support, no worries and much love your way. God bless. I am not chasing fame or views. I'm standing strong in love.
So that's what she said a year ago, right? And that was basically the whole situation. And then, she's also a children's author, and like a few of the parents were upset by taken back by the gender, sexuality content, and some of these whole things. Again, if you don't want the women or certain individuals to teach your kids things you don't want to, maybe don't put them in front of a screen. Like I said, to me, this seems completely obvious that the problem here is just you putting putting a tablet in your kid's hand, expecting a tablet to raise your children. You're probably not going to win doing that. But now there's a new controversy with Miss Rachel because she now has to defend her pro-Palestine posts, and she's now being accused of anti-Semitism, right?
Wait. What the hell? Remember
Hold on.
came out and he's like, I want to talk to you about Rhodesia. What the fuck?
So, as you guys know, a lot of people in the entertainment industry have been taking sides. A lot of them taking sides on the side of Palestine in this whole situation. Now, like I said, if you want to go into a deeper context of what's actually going on with Israel and Palestine, I have multiple videos on the Bible links talking about this, but we're going to keep it in the context of this story. Miss Rachel, popular YouTuber, has defended her mini post about Palestinians in the Gaza amongst accusations of anti-Semitism. She shared a poem on Thursday on her Instagram after the group Stop Anti-Semitism and pinned a letter to the Attorney General Pam Bondi asking she be investigated for allegedly pushing Hamas talking points. Now, I will say this. I don't think that we need to get the Attorney General of the United States of America to investigate some lady on YouTube because she's putting posts out there pro-Palestine, wherever the case may be. Again, this is kind of your responsibility in this whole situation. If you don't want questionable people putting stuff in front of your kids, that's your job to prevent that from happening here. But she says that children have rights, and these rights are not just for some children, they are for our children. Standing up for children, especially those who are the most vulnerable, is the right thing to do. All children have a right to food, water, medical care, education. All children should be protected from violence, she added here. It says the letter to Bondi, the AG, like really. It says the claiming that that Miss Rachel's many social media posts about Gaza has contained misinformation pushed by terrorist organization Hamas. I do have a very funny photo I'll show you guys here about the whole Hamas situation. But essentially, they're trying to get her to stop supporting Palestine in her Instagram account. That's not going to work. That's actually really, really dumb to move forward with that. But essentially, they're saying that given the vast sums of foreign funds that have been directed towards propaganding our young people on college campuses, we suspect there's a similar dynamic in the online influencer space. We urge you in your office to investigate whether or not Miss Rachel has been remunerated to disseminate. Did I say that right? Or I just completely butcher that word there. Disseminate Hamas-aligned propaganda for her millions of followers that may have violated the Foreign Agents and Restoration Act. By the way, no one's ever going to be charged under this act unless they support Trump or something like that. It's never going to happen. But and then, of course, it talks about last year, her comments regarding the Pride Buff and all the heat that it's gotten there. I will go ahead and say this, and I'm pretty sure you guys know how I feel about this whole situation. If she wants to support the LGBTQ community, fine, that's on her. If she wants to support Hamas, fine, that's on her. What I will say to you, and I'll say this again, it is your responsibility as parents to make sure that people with influence are not leading your children astray. So if you have to make a choice between not watching Miss Rachel videos and essentially having to have your own conversations with your children so they're not learning bullshit from other people, maybe you should actually start being parents for once in your life and stop, letting your kids be fond absolute crap. I'm honestly not even that upset at Miss Rachel. I just feel like the bigger responsibility here is on the parents, right? Am I completely off base about this, Cider? Is he even there, or he's just going?
I'm here. Yeah.
Am I just completely off base about this?
No, see, here we had this back in before, though. This isn't brand new. We had like every children's show that strayed out of what was deemed to be the, the acceptable pathway, got flack. This is, personally, I do think that this person probably should be looked into. Only because the people that come out and decide to make this Palestine thing part of their whole like MO publicly, like this is their personality, add that to their bio, their personality thing, put the watermelon in their handle. They're usually people that are like pretty close to burning a Tesla. So, maybe some US aid money has been running into Miss Rachel. And maybe we need to check out just who exactly is making sure that Miss Rachel is Miss Rachel, because that video right there, that doesn't look like anybody that should be getting 100 million views on anything at all. That's not any kids who cares about this woman sitting there talking? Like your 3-year-old's not even going to pay attention to that. Your 8-year-old's not even going to pay attention to that. He's going to scroll on to see Subway Surfer while Peter Griffin's making penis jokes.
Yeah. And I'll say this, like I know a few people who, they put their kids in watching Miss Rachel. And like I said, with my vast wealth of entertainment knowledge that I've acquired over the last couple of years, I can always say that, and then this is someone who like still likes watching a whole bunch of like older, like, stuff from like the 90s, the 2000s, even going back to like the 80s. I can still go back now and be like, yeah, that's probably not something I would show to a kid that, age probably doesn't quite understand things. That's probably the reason why we're in the situation that we're in right now. And I just feel like that, right? I just feel like that, especially over the last 10 years, now that it's become more apparent to everyone that look at everything that we've covered with Disney over the course of the last, couple of years. And we know that there's people in Disney in positions of creative stuff like that who want to push this stuff, particularly among children. We just talked about the story last week about the adolescent television show from Netflix that now all of a sudden they're showing to like, elementary school kids as we're part of here you guys go watch this television show that's going to tell you that toxic masculinity is bad and blah 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 and being a male is bad and all that stuff. Like, we know that there's people out there who want to corrupt your children, and I figured that by now some of you guys may have been smartening up to the fact that, hey, because there are these people out there, maybe you should go with an extra fine-tooth comb to be like, do I really want my child to be exposed to this? Because at the end of the day, a 3-year-old is not going to seek out Miss Rachel, right? Like a 3-year-old's not surfing through like YouTube and trying to figure out, okay, what show am I going to watch today? It's like you're the parent that's putting this content in front of your kids. So even if she is trying to corrupt the youth, who's the one that's essentially allowing her to do that? That's you. This is a you problem, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's sad that the parents are constantly trying to force the children to absorb. What's this woman doing? She's teaching kids how to type and read and count and things like that.
I'm trying to figure out exactly like what this woman actually does, like in her whole thing. Like
I
like
actually
nursery rhymes and sing-alongs and stuff like that.
I mean, come on, like it's impossible to find entertainment for children nowadays. Now I got to go and look into this woman's background. Listen, I understand the whole thing because we had that one crazy trans lady that was trying to like actively put like, you know, the LGBT, you know, message out there to children genuinely. And this woman apparently, I don't know, she didn't say anything that awful. We have to accept the fact in reality that gay couples have children, right? So, and not all of them are terrible people. So all of them, some of the people are being raised correctly. So I hope they're being influenced by Miss Rachel by saying, you know, hey, I'm glad that your family loves you. And I mean, what did she say to piss off anti-Semitism people? Like she just said that children.
Like...
You're right.
And look,
what did she say?
Exactly right. And I will say this. No, look, there is a rise of anti-Semitism out there right now. There's a lot of people who are just simply going after Jews. We've seen this in our space here too. Here's the problem: is that a lot of the Jewish section of this issue here, they just think that anyone who's against Israel is automatically an anti-Semite, right? So then they start charging people with anti-Semitism who aren't outright against the Jewish people. Like, so like there are people out there. It's like, hey, look, I'm not against Jewish people. I just don't like the nation of Israel for whatever reason, right? Those people out there do exist. When you charge those people, be like, oh, you're just as bad as, let's say, Candace Owens or Dan Bilzerian or Josh Shields, who are just going out there being like, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. It's like that's only making those people turn against you even more. Then they're going to start listening to people like that and be like, maybe it is just the Jews. So it's like their reaction to a lot of this stuff is actually influencing the dislike against them, right? Because like I said, you can just sit there and be like, look, Miss Rachel, who I'm assuming is some broad from the United States of America, and I mentioned this last week with Jenna Ortega and all these people don't have any religious context of what's going on in Israel and Palestine. They're not choosing, Palestine because they hate Jews. Like I told you, these secular people, they just see this from a very simple conflict. They see Palestine and Gaza being poor, oppressed brown people, and they see Israel being, the white oppressor. They don't have any context of Judaism or Islam or any of that stuff. They're basically looking at this whole situation from a very, very stupid progressive lens. So you're charging these people with things that they're objectively not guilty of, and by doing that, you're only turning more people against you to begin with. We don't need, unless you're trying to argue whether Miss Rachel actually is like some kind of like foreign, agent who's working with like a corrupt government system to corrupt kids. Unless you're actually investigating that, I don't think we need to get the attorney general on the line to investigate her Instagram post, unless we have some substantial evidence to what Sider was saying here that no, she's actually working with like a foreign entity, a foreign government to do something really, really sinister. And unless you actually have that and say, here's what she's doing, then okay, fine. Outside of that, like you're just making this worse on yourself.
No, what you don't understand is that she said that all children have the right to be able to sleep in comfort and have food have food in their bellies. That has to be anti-Semitic in some way, form.
Like I said, when you do that, you're not helping yourself.
Well, one of those things is that this isn't a charge for anti-Semitism. It just is entirely bizarre that a children's entertainer has decided to preoccupy herself with an incredibly divisive and violent issue that children have to then be edified on when they ask, "Mommy, what's Gaza? Mommy, what?"
But look at it like from this perspective, look at it like this. If your children ask you, hey, mommy, hey, daddy, what's Gaza? What's Israel? Then guess what? It's your job to be the parent and explain to them what's actually going on there so they can understand it, because they're going to figure it out one way or another. Do you want them to figure out the Israel-Palestine conflict from Miss Rachel, or do you want it to learn it from you?
Well,
like this is the part where you have to step up, right?
You're right about that, but here's the line I want to enter into that is that they probably, I don't know a fifth grader that needs to know jack shit about Gaza versus Israel. That's a 12-year-old. I don't know if a fifth grader needs to know jack shit about that. They need to know where that country is, where those two spaces on Earth are, and that's it. That's geography. That's it.
Right.
They don't need to know that conflict. That conflict has existed for 2,000 years. If they want to preoccupy themselves they want to preoccupy themselves with that conflict as adults, as teenagers, that's perfectly fine in high school to address this. And that's where I draw the line. I don't see this as anti-Semitism. Because look, she's not like doing the Elmo "Get Ready for School" song in front of the train to Auschwitz.
Yeah. Right. All right? That's what I'm saying. All right, that's what I'm saying. The horn on the bus doesn't go boom, boom, boom. I'm just saying.
You know.
You know, it's like, but what did she say about Gaza? That's what I'm saying. I think there's a concerted effort here because people know that gay people have kids and they like them at least. So and then they find the anti-Semitism people to come in. And what did she say about Gaza? I never read one thing. I didn't know she brought on Dylan Mulvaney. That's a little, Yeah, that's
a little suspect, right?
I'll go like this with that, but she hasn't said anything about Gaza. This is a completely fabricated story, I think, on a woman that teaches children. And unless she's doing what the Hamas did, which is create Mafor, the Mickey Mouse Gazan, we're going to kill the Jews and we're going to destroy
from the river to the sea.
I mean, the greatest thing in the world, having Mickey Mouse come out and tell everybody that they're going to destroy the Jews. That I would see as a problem.
Until we see Miss Rachel begin one of her latest children videos dressed like this.
Right.
I don't think we need to get the Attorney General.
What do we need? What is that, bud?
Hello, Habibis. We are going to learn how to properly fit our suicide vest today.
A B C I D F B O M B M I G.
Shalom alaikum, my friends. Today we're going to learn how to send the infidels to Keffa.
So I'm just saying, I'm just saying to all the anti-Semites out there who are trying to make a story out of this, or trying to get Pat Bombay to, Pat Bombay to get into this. I hate to tell you, in this great time of the year, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red, yellow, black, or white, they're all precious in his sight because Jesus loves the little children.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, exactly right. But no, I've been telling people for literally for years now. It's like, when you look at shows like Arthur and Blue's Clues and SpongeBob and all this stuff, and they're pushing questionable things within the children. They've been doing this for years. It's like, I don't know why you just assume because Miss Rachel's on YouTube that somehow you're gonna be immune for what happens next. It's like the only shows that you guys can even watch on television right now, we don't have to worry about being interjected with some progressive nonsense. It's like home renovation shows and like street racing, and that's basically it. Those are your only two options here in 2024 for now.
And those Chinese cartoons that are on YouTube, because the Chinese know they just want to teach you to learn math. They don't care.
So this is just a little bit of what Miss Rachel does. This video, how many views this video has? This has 149 million views.
My
this
God.
Video. So here's a little bit of.
She has a cameo with Elmo.
Screen for Miss Ashley.
Which two dinosaurs are the same?
Racism.
Neither one of these are Mitch McConnell.
Yes, these two. Great job. Which dinosaur is different?
The Muslim.
Which dinosaur gets eaten by the other two?
Yes, this one.
Isn't that the one that spit in
That's
Wayne
why
Knight's
that
face?
one uses a different water fountain.
Fish swimming in the water. One little blue fish swimming in the water. One little.
You know what's the most offensive about this video so far? This woman is getting paid ducats to just sit in front of a blue screen and spark brain rot the 3-year-olds.
Well, I would argue that it's not brain rot, but the only because it is it's not like she's telling like pound nails into your hands for fun, kids. It's not like the
Do a
TikTok.
Fortnite dance.
She's not Charlie Somalia got beer.
It's not the Elsa Gate stuff where it's like get drunk with your friends and have sex when you're 7. You know, it's not like that.
Yeah, right.
But I'll give you this that it's definitely like plug and play content, and this has been the big problem with children's entertainment is that it is very much like just plug and play. There's not a lot of concerted effort to do much more than I found these assets on a free asset website, and I am green screening them behind me while I dance between laundry. Between
who are all these brown people?
When you dance, you said it right the first time. When you dance in your laundry room.
To be honest with you, okay, I thought that was Borat for a second. Like my brain looked at it, I was like, Borat? What?
I thought that was I thought that was the Arab guy from the League.
It's Sadiq from the Lost Show.
Yep. Oh boy, yeah. So that's what's going on there. So I mean, like I said, guys, what have you?
I don't think she's
nothing?
Evil. Let me make it clear. I don't think she's evil, but she is a white woman that's clearly from America, which automatically makes me suspicious of her intentions. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, look what's going on with these, middle schools and high schools right now. Who's the one having sex with all the children? It seems to be middle America white women.
No, it's all over Twitter, dude. It's at least in my thing. I'll see if I could dig it up for you real quick. There was a thing that came out here that said that here it is, DEI divide over on Twitter. It's a huge thing. Only white college women are the ones supporting DEI now. Yep. It's a poll that CNN themselves, MSNBC had to show. Here, I'll bring it up for you. We can take a look. We're not going to listen to it, but you can look at the numbers here. Pretty numbers. But yeah, so here it is.
You should do that voice in front of a green screen. You'd make bank.
There it is right there. We see this white women with college degree, the only group of voters that is on the left. You see right here. Those are the ones that are only the diversity and equity. No, see, there it is. Mm-hmm. Only white women are the ones that are in support of it. So there you go. That's it.
So basically, college propagandized white women are the only ones who are still pushing this nonsense.
It just proves to.
That's it.
It just shows. I've been saying it over and over again. White women are the worst people in the world.
So let me just.
If we're being honest with ourselves, Black women are kind of up there too.
They're getting there. Well, that's good. They benefit. So it's like when you have the bird that eats the bugs on the rhino.
Here's the thing, though, right? They don't benefit from it because when we go and we take a look at these DEI initiatives, they get put into slots where white women control them. Go ahead and look at all the video games we report on. Look at Ubisoft. Who's in control of it? White women. Who's in control of all the HR? White women. Exactly. They just bring DEI hires in so they get to say, I have Black friends. Look, I have Black friends.
We just saw it with Miss Nelson.
Yeah, Miss Rachel there, yeah.
Miss Rachel.
She's like, look at these people I met at Home Depot.
Look at these Black people I showed up in the middle of the world, in the middle of the water.
That is funny too, like a Black woman under the ocean, like all right. that's funny.
Where'd she come from?
That's a C-Lab 2021 joke, by the way.
Right.
But the poll there though shows us, I want to put that in perspective. Since Donald Trump took a box of French fries and leaned out the drive-through window of a McDonald's in the Midwest, this entire nation has done a 180 on what it is to be an American, okay? Now the only people that are towing the Biden line are weirdo cat ladies that eat cat food and smell like doo-doo or wee-wee. Take your pick. And there you go. That's it. That's all that's left of your Reddit moderators that still believe in this shit. And that's, guys, we're not even 6 months into this guy's second presidency.
We're not even 100 days in.
Giant robots, guys. Giant robots. It can happen. It can happen.
We're still only 83 days in.
Yeah. It hasn't even been 3 months.
It's even been the first 100 days.
Not even 100 days yet.
It's like the first 100 days he shows up. And we built a Gundam because the Japanese were taking too long.
Like, put it this way, if this was like a McDonald's, we can still fire you without cause. We have to write you up. Well, let's go on to a little bit of WWE news right here because I've been saying this for a while, and I feel like this whole story kind of validated everything that I've been saying for the past 10 years. But wrestling is just as disgustingly woke as like every other medium that's out there. However, it just doesn't get talked about as much because let's be honest, it's only weirdos like us who still care about pro wrestling in 2025. So it doesn't really get the mainstream exposure that it deserves. But WWE superstar Roman Reigns came out and said that he supports President Trump. Now, it wasn't like he came out and said that, he has a MAGA hat and that he's like all Trump and that he loves like Trump Jr. and all that. Basically just said that he supports the president and wants the best for the country. That alone was enough to cause utter and sheer meltdown. Even people wishing that he had actually died from cancer just because he came out and made this statement here, right? So he did an interview where I believe it was Vanity Fair, which I'll show you some of the photos of that here in a second too. But basically said that, hey, he should hold support for Donald Trump. Now, on the objective side of this, Roman Reigns, who is a Christian man, married with 5 kids. I don't know why it's a shocker to anyone that he's not a progressive. I thought that would kind of like a lead in, but then again, people are just delusional and they don't really pay attention. But Roman Reigns, who is going to be wrestling tonight, he's in the main event against CM Punk and Seth Rollins at night 1 for WrestleMania 41. It says here that, that he's actually supporting the President Trump during this time period. Let's see, going down here, it says, I support our president. Trump is one of those guys where he's got a vast history and a huge background, Reigns said, who was the choice for the 2024 election, said it was very clear, according to him. He's been in entertainment. He's been in big business politics. At this point, I'm supporting a bright future for our country, positive and competent leadership for us, for what we're supposed to be the world leader and to carry that respect and to do what a world power like us should be doing, which is why he chose to support Trump, which I'm guessing he wasn't too enthralled about, the Biden-Harris delegation that took place over the last 4 years as well. He did level a slight criticism towards Trump always picking battles with political rivals, saying that Trump needs that adversary, saying that he needs that opposition to bounce off of. He needs that competitive motivation, something. Says that he didn't support everything that he says, but basically that he supports the president and getting the United States of America back on track. As a result of this, people lost their everlasting minds on social media, especially in the wrestling community. All of these jerk-offs like Sean Ross Sapp and all of these other quote-unquote news journalists were talking about how this is nightmare, catastrophic PR for WWE because Reigns came out and publicly supported Trump. Our good buddy Lisa Green here compiled an entire catalog here of tweets that came. This is like a 2.5 minute video here of basically what Roman said in a reaction to it. So we'll play a little bit of the reaction here. This woman says, you have a black wife, half black kids, and you're choosing, I'll say, what are you doing, Joseph Illinois, which is obviously his real name, not Roman Reigns. It says, you don't have to agree with everything. It says, what do you have to agree with, my boy? Because all of his shit is inherently evil. Here's another one that says, see, this is why we stand Steph, the best member of the Shield. By the way, Seth dated a literal Nazi at one point, and I feel like people just kind of memory hold that whole thing. But yes, he had a Nazi.
Almost left his current wife for that Nazi too.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I just kind of feel like, oh yeah, everyone's pretending like they love Seth all of a sudden. And it's like, really? That guy really
cheated on his current wife with that Nazi. I totally forgot about that. Yeah,
and broke up what's his name, Caitlyn's marriage too. So
right.
Yeah, so yeah, Seth's not a saint by any stretch of the imagination. But Seth Rollins is the only nigga in the Shield with some sense in wrestling. Double stop that man again. He says, here's another reasonable comment. Fuck Triple H, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Roman Reigns, fuck anyone defending this, and especially fuck you, Hulk Hogan. Because Hulk got thrown in there too.
You know what? Screw everybody going with Sheiky Baby, okay? Fuck you, everybody trying. Everyone wants to pretend they're Sheiky Baby. You're not Sheiky. Sheiky's gone. It's okay. But they're fucking Hulk Hogan. Of course. And we love that. But you're not Sheiky. Stop that.
Like, please stop, right? So here's another one. Says, meanwhile, this is Seth and Punk. We'll get to Punk a little bit later on here in this show because so then Roman Reigns, F you. Stop using this as a gotcha moment. A lot of us have been hardcore fans for the past decade. I think we have the right to feel such disappointment and pain without being lectured at. Everyone's feeling about this is completely valid. You're feeling pain just because Roman said that he supported Trump. Are you that emotionally volatile person? It says, I'm expressing my very own thoughts to this vision of this. It's okay to be disappointed. Parasocial relations leads to this. We align ourselves with a view that does not correspond with the reality of our favorites.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, this all sounds like you guys need like therapy. That's what it sounds like to me. It says,
Jesus, not celebrity worship.
Mm-hmm. But remember, guys, you shouldn't be upset that wrestlers support this genocidal maniac. Again, they can't tell you who he genocided. They just say that. Here's another. I think I even responded to this one. It says, "Be mad at Roman. Be upset with Roman. Hold him accountable. But wishing his cancer come back and kill him because you're mad at him is just downright vindictive and cruel. Y'all need to fucking do better. Just because you're mad at him over a quote from doesn't make you any better, woman."
That's like a veiled. That's also a veiled one. Like she wanted to say that, but she didn't have the balls to fucking.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah. So it's like, oh, it's amazing that we have favorites that who loves everyone equally and doesn't judge. And then does CM Punk putting a whole bunch of trans nonsense from his AEW run. Again, you can tell that there's a large number of pro wrestling fans who have literally just started watching in the last 5 years because all these people who are there holding up as like moral heroes, like, do you not know what these guys did and said like in the last 10 years? Like, that's
Chris Benoit was a great man. You know, he believed in the foundations of family and trust and gun safety. All right.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with now. You know, people who read like the first paragraph of the Wikipedia article, like that's enough and moved on, you know?
I mean, this thing just goes on like forever and ever and ever. Just people just emotionally melting down. By the way, this person said that we knew he hated women. And I'll never forget this. Nia Jax, who's also in this photo here, had to come out publicly say, this never happened. You're a lying piece of crap. So all these people
Nia Jax just stinks on her own.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, literally those whole few days has just been them going after Reigns, going after his family. They're upset at Jacob Fatu now because they found out that Jacob Fatu is a Christian who believes in Christ and who follows in wokeness on Twitter as well. So it's like they all thought that, you know, all the Samoans were on their side. Now they found out the hard way that they're not. And they're just having a complete other meltdown about this whole situation. Now, one other thing that I'll add on to this before we talk about this in greater detail here is that I will say this. Roman, along with this interview, basically said that, you know, his contract with WWE is officially over next year. He plans on only signing on for like another year or two after that, then trying his hand in Hollywood. I will say this. Good luck with that, because I'm pretty sure being an open Trump supporter is not going to win you over any fans in Hollywood with the current situation going there right now. Then this was him in his Vanity Fair, you know, interview, which I get it. They're trying to play up to, I guess, women. I'll just warn Roman Reigns this. They told Shawn Michaels the same thing when he did Playgirl back in the 90s, and it wasn't women who were reading those magazines. So just be very careful about, you know, the avenue you're trying to step over to where it's there. It may not be the best one for you when it's all said and done. Eddie, I'll start this one off with you. What is your thoughts on Roman Reigns coming out and being Team MAGA and the reaction regarding this?
I am so surprised. Great job, Roman. I'm so happy for you that you got. Listen, after this past election, there are millions of Roman Reigns out there that were Democrats that realized that, oh my God, the Democrats completely left me behind 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, because Roman is from the Bay Area. All the Samoans are from the Bay Area. They are indentured into the fucking Bay Area system here. So it's not like they're MAGA. It's not like they're from Arkansas. You know, they're not from Tennessee. They're not from Kentucky. They're not going to go out there blast. No, they are indented into the democratic system here. Samoans are democratic across the board. Why did they love Trump? because Samoans know that they need a tough guy like Trump to go out there and do what Samoans do best, which is handle business. And Roman Reigns understands that. Now Roman Reigns, I don't know if Hollywood's going to be good for him. This is also where Roman's going to try to get a lot of that capital from being with The Rock, being The Rock's cousin. He's going to try to parlay that into something really great, I'm sure. And I'm sure The Rock is going to handhold him for a couple of Fast and Furious movies, you know. So this is good for Roman. I'm happy for him. I'm so disgusted by the internet wrestling community, the IWC. I've always been disgusted by the IWC, but now it's become a completely new low because I remember when Roman came out and he had cancer. I was critical of Roman when he came out and said he had cancer. I was like, why is he? You're not supposed. Why are you? Huh? No, dude. Why would you say this? But everybody gave him his flowers, gave him his props and everything else. Fantastic. Okay, Roman, you came back from cancer. I don't like it because it looks like you had cancer and then you came back and you started kicking people's asses again. I can't believe that, but all right, that's fine. But now people are saying, well, he should have just died from the cancer. What the hell, dude? What the hell?
Keep in mind, when Roman first came out and admitted he had cancer, I think it was like 2017 when he cut that promo, there were people who were so anti-Roman at the time, they were actually accusing him of faking having cancer just to get people to cheer for him again. That's how far people went with it back then.
And it's simply because of the timeline, right? Mm-hmm. Like everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to be the guy there. He was supposed to be the guy. And then they gave it to Roman. Why'd you give it to Roman? Okay, you give it to Roman. Go to WrestleMania. Why are you going to have Roman beat Brock Lesnar for the title? Okay, fine. He beats Brock for the title. It's in front of Samoans. They don't want Samoa to riot across San Francisco. I understand. So they go over today. So then 2-3 months after that, they decide Roman's going to just hand over the belt because he has cancer? Did we just bury the hell out of the top the legitimate top babyface in Daniel Bryan through that whole thing? Like, I understand why that. I understand why there was two things that happened.
There was two things that happened there because I believe that was when Roman's cancer announcement came after Daniel Bryan's initial retirement. Because remember, it was WrestleMania 30 where Bryan won the belt, held it for like 2 months, and then he had to give it up because he got hurt, and then he wasn't back till like the end of that year. Then when they brought him back, I think it was like a few months after that is when he had to retire the first time because basically WWE wouldn't clear him because his neck was basically made out of like staples and cream cheese and shit.
All the concussions. Ugh.
Yeah, right. And now I do find it genuinely hilarious that he went to AEW just to do more dangerous shit.
He just gets dropped on his head on every single piece of concrete they have in the arena.
It's like he went out of his way to get dropped on his neck time and time again.
Oh my god, dude. That's like, what the hell? But no, and then to come back now, it's so sad. Like, I never would have thought the internet community or the wrestling community would actually actively say someone needs to die of cancer. And these are the same people, I guarantee. We need the Owen Hart tribute show. We need the this and that. Shut the
Chris
fuck up.
Benoit needs to be in your Hall of Fame, guys. He was a great wrestler.
He was a great wrestler who loved everything. Shut the fuck up. Shut up, dummies. Ugh. I'm so happy I'm done with these people.
Yeah, they're not great. They haven't gotten much better. Cider, as the outsider looking into this whole situation, what's your thoughts on the Roman Reigns Trump thing?
You're gonna see more of it. These guys are coming to the end of their career. Roman Reigns isn't gonna be tossing men around too much longer, and he understands that there needs to be some kind of economy outside of tossing oiled up, sweaty men around, and so he's making sure that he supports that. Now, the people behind him are going to respond in kind because, believe it or not, his fans most likely have a similar ideology. You see these people out here freaking out on Twitter, but as we know, with Tumblr, that's an incredibly small demographic of the real world. And so when you get out into these actual fans of Roman Reigns, they're probably like, yeah, finally. Fuck yeah. You're going to see people that were like on Cena's side, down for Cena's return, going, no, I like Roman Reigns now. He's on my side. I can crack a beer with that guy and we could talk about something. I don't think I can talk to Cena about things anymore. And that's one of those things where, like, this guy's brand has an end point. That's not a joke. Like, he has an end point. He's not going to be Hogan. He's not going to be the epitome of American wrestling. That's not Roman Reigns' fate. The reality is this guy might retire into acting, but that's about it. You know, he's not really gonna do much more than perform still. He might open up a chain restaurant thing, but he has to have an economy to do that. So he's supporting that stuff. He's looking ahead and making it known that I'm down with this American revitalization thing. I happen to like the country that I live in. So I'm good with that. And that might help bring back people to the table about wrestling who have been thrust out by all of this weirdo leftist dommy mommy muscle mommy bullshit.
Yeah, that's a whole other. So I've known this for a while here, and yeah, I'll get to your question here in just a second. But people still think, especially people who haven't been following wrestling in a while, they still think that the majority of like wrestling fan bases are like Southern rednecks and like Memphis and like North Carolina and Georgia and all that stuff. It's like, guys, it hasn't been that since at least like the 1990s. Like, I hate to break this to you. Like, this isn't the NWA, this isn't the AWA, this isn't Mid-South anymore. It's like, over the course of the last 10, 15 years, and WWE is primarily at fault for this, I blame them more than anyone else, the wrestling business has shifted away from those cities and they focus primarily on New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. If you're anywhere in those three cities, the wrestling industry has basically bled you dry over the course of the last 10, 15 years. And as a result of that, the fan base has shifted to being primarily uber liberals from those wrestling hubs. So yeah, when you put all of your content in New York and Chicago, you're going to get fan bases from New York and Chicago who are uber liberal. And this is what you have left now. There isn't that many people watching pro wrestling anymore. WWE is the biggest game in town. They're only averaging like 1.5 million viewers every time they do a show. And the majority of that partly is the fact that a lot of them is liberal cities now. They've taken over a lot of women over the last several years. I mean, I think women are like half their fan base now. Now listen to this. If you're only drawing 1.5 million people and half of them are women, you have to ask yourself, how many men did we lose in the course of the last 25 years who were in that 18 to 34 male demographic back in the Attitude Era who quit watching entirely for being put in a position where now half your fan base are women, right? And of course, the thing with women and the reason why women are always shunned out of, spaces when it comes to fan base is that when you invite women in, sooner rather than later, they're going to bring their gay best friend with them. And then when that happens, your fan base is pretty much done. It's toast. There's no way to bring it back. You either have to just nuke everything or start your own thing again because it's done at that point. To answer Neo's question, is it the worst fan base out there? Can I play this video? I think somebody sent me this video just a minute ago, but so you guys know Rhea Ripley. We've talked about her. She knows me. So there was a video from the wrestling event that they're doing because, like I said, they're in Vegas for WrestleMania this weekend. Some weirdo fan showed up and brought to her legitimate adoption papers asking if she could adopt him as her child, and then she signed the papers and whatnot. It was like one of the most cringe-inducing things that I've ever seen like in my entire life. I hope I can find this video for you real quick. It'll just take me a second, but somebody actually like did that, and I just thought to myself, "Yep, it's over. It's fucking over."
They really are the worst fan, and they're the best fans too. Like,
yeah,
these people will sit in line for hours just to touch the hem of something. You don't do that with football players. You don't do that with baseball players or basketball players. Like, because there's a court and there's a whole thing. No, with wrestlers, you get to be so close that you can touch their feet. So, like, it's a weird kind of thing. They're the best kind of fans you can get because they're dedicated. You'll never find a more dedicated fan base for anything else. But I mean, they also are absolutely. I never thought it would get to this. Like, it used to just be nerds. It used to just be nerds saying how people can't work. Mm-hmm. It used to be nerds that said that people can't work who never fucking got off and did anything at all. And now it's nerds telling people they can't work, but on top of that, they're stalking them.
Yeah. Like in the Attitude Era, when I was watching, like in like the mid '90s, like it was mostly like frat boys who would like dedicate like 2 or 3 hours like once a week to just watch a pro wrestling show because they like the guys that are on the show, and that's pretty much what it was. I don't know what this is now. So here's the video. This is from yesterday. Some guy showed up with a legitimate adoption papers for Rhea Ripley to sign.
It's a first?
I thought it was a kid. Okay, pause. I thought this was a kid. I thought this was like some child.
No, this is a grown ass man. This
What
is like
the
someone
hell?
who's probably our age.
Christian? His name is Christian? What is this?
Yes. Christian, they have to blur out obviously the certificate of adoption there, but yeah, he put his whole name in there, and then this is what happened.
Hi, I have been waiting for this since last WrestleMania. It
She
took
looks
me
terrible
months
without
to
her
get
makeup.
this. Can you sign this to be my new mommy?
She looks mortified. Like, let's just put it to you that way. Like, there's a realization going on in her head right now. It's like, oh, is this real? Is this a great? Oh, wait, this is real. Oh my god. Oh my god. How I got this? Is the camera on me right now? Fuck, I can't walk away. What am I to do? What am I to do?
The camera is literally 3 feet away from the guy. I can hear him. Can you adopt me? What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Away from me.
Please.
She literally didn't even know like what to say.
Are you serious?
Exactly.
The tamer is
Okay.
like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh. Yes! Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Oh. Can I get a hug?
Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is so
Thank you
good.
so much.
That's modern wrestling fans in a nutshell, people. I hope you just enjoyed what you sat there. I was like, what the fuck is just happening?
I hate it.
Exactly, right? It's like one of those things where it was like, this is either real and I'm absolutely like horrified, or like someone's gonna like come up to me in like 3 seconds and be like, I gotcha.
Ashton Kutcher's gonna come around the corner.
You should have saw the look on your face, bro.
You got punked. She's not your mom. She's your parole officer now.
She's more dummy than mommy now.
And now you wonder. So there's the thing too. This is just a lot of these women are just dumb, because on one hand you always have these women wrestlers who go out there like twice a month and be like, hey guys, stop sending fan mail to my real address, right? Like, stop sending stuff to my real address. Like, first of all, I don't even know how you figure out where these people actually live. Like, I've never been that much of a psychopath to be like, I need to know their exact address so I can send them.
People are tracing their plane rides. All right, bro. I've seen it.
But then here's the other thing. You chased out the male fan base who wanted things like bra and panties matches, because in your liberal mind, bra and panties matches is demeaning the women. So you kicked all those men out, all the ones who were somewhat normal, who you say, okay, they're horn dogs, wherever the case may be. Great. But then since you kicked those guys out, these are the ones you've brought in. The super awkward, super autistic wrestling fans who do stuff like this. And then you're just sitting there mortified 24/7. It's like, well, yeah, guess what? This wasn't happening 20 years ago when it was basically like, dudes who would go watch the pro wrestling drinking Natty Light with the bros, So it's like you're complaining about the problem, not realizing you've also contributed to the problem itself as well.
I'm sorry. And the worst part is like, you want women at your show. Like, women you're supposed to have a dude.
You don't want it to be a sausage party.
Right. You want women at your show. And the women want the wrestlers to at least look like men, for first off, not look like 22-year-old fucking, half strippers, But they want them to look like men, and they want to be. Women love this stuff, and the fact that half of them are like, I got to compete with Dommy Mommy, or I have to compete with Harley Quinn all the time. Like, what the hell?
We're not done here. There's one more aspect to this story here. And now, going back to the topic we were talking about before we got detoured by that horrific Rhea Ripley video, is CM Punk. So because Roman Reigns came out and did his Vanity Fair article where he basically praised Trump as president, Punk had to come out the very next day and post his statement. He figured that, well, since he's gonna support Trump, I'm gonna smash Trump supporters and Elon Musk because I'm a super liberal guy from Chicago, and that's what I do and stuff like that. So now everyone's acting like CM Punk is an amazing guy now because he came out and he attacked Trump supporters and Elon. So it's like, oh my god, I can emotionally adjust now. So here's the comments that he made. He did appearance on The Masked Man, which I'm not even sure if this is like a popular show or whatever, because we never heard of it, whatever the case is.
The Masked Man.
But basically somebody asked him about what do you think about Roman Reigns and Triple H commenting their support about Trump, and then he says that I don't think that the company wants us to be outwardly political. Keep in mind, when he was in AEW, he was wearing abortion t-shirts and trans t-shirts and all this other stuff through and through. I think the closest he's gotten since he's come back to WWE is that he wore a t-shirt supporting the Chicago teachers unions, which a city like Chicago, which has probably some of the worst kids as far as like education goes, probably not the best to be promoting that union. But like I said, you're a liberal idiot, so you don't know any better. He says this, that I do feel there's probably different rules for different people. Punk admitted that he doesn't talk politics backstage, not with Triple H or Paul Heyman, not even Roxanne Perez, which is weird that he mentioned her because there's been a lot of innuendo online that maybe there's something going on between her and that other chick that they're being referring to. Oh, they're just like his daughters. They're daughter figures to Punk. It's like, yeah, okay, that's what I totally believe. It says that it's 24/7 wrestling, but then he went on about basically that he doesn't have a blind loyalty or cult-like devotion to any president. He says this: president should just do his job. Yeah, right. The president should just do his job. If you're wearing hats or t-shirts promoting the president and all that stuff, you're very much seeing all these people who voted against their best interests because they thought the president was going to do bad things, bad stupid shit to the people who they don't like. So that's why Punk thinks that you voted for Trump, because apparently Trump promised to do bad things to people that you don't like. That's his. And he also said the line of voting against your interests. So I know if Rick was here, he would love hearing that one right now. But it says that I can try to draw the line in the sand when people say Elon Musk was throwing up Zig Heil at the podium. I see people making excuses for that. Nope. We saw what you did. Don't gaslight me. I'm not as stupid as you are. I know what you did, and I know what you are. So he also believes that Elon Musk is a Nazi. So he's right up there with Bill Burr and all those other people. He also says that he calls the world strange and ugly, but he says that all he can do is stay grounded. He says, the only thing I can do is stay true to myself and be a voice for myself, my family, my community, and then the world. It's like, oh my god, get the fuck over yourself, buddy. There's the other thing too. It's like, I'm gonna be a voice for the world. Do you honestly think you're the only person on this planet who has the opinions that you do? Who you think you're the only person who preaches anti-Trump, anti-Musk, pro-Palestine stuff? You think you're the only person out there like, oh my god, if we didn't have CM Punk spewing all this stuff, who else would step up to the plate for the entire world, bro? It's like, get the fuck over yourself, bro.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Some chicks in a teepee in a hut in fucking the teepee desert?
Get the fuck, like, dude, you're not Barack Obama, okay? Like, calm the fuck down. Like, get out of here. It says, I'm supposed to quit my job because someone on Twitter says WWE is a MAGA company. He's like, okay, you're on Lord Elon Musk fucking Twitter saying stupid shit. Shut the fuck up.
LOL. That's telling the IWC, shut the fuck up. What do you want me to quit?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what do you want me to quit from my opinions and my real morals and shit? What the hell?
Exactly, right. I'm such an activist, but when people point out that all the people who pay my checks are big Trump supporters, I just shut up because it's like, I'm not going to give up this money. There's these millions of dollars that WWE's paying me to be on this show.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so apparently activism only comes as far as your paycheck. We get it now. You're just like everybody else. And then I've done a lot. I just don't broadcast it. Bullshit. I put my money where my mouth is. I don't need to write my name in a GoFundMe to make myself feel better about being the shitty person that I am. Well, at least you're someone honest there. And then he talked about being outspoken about teachers' rights and trans rights and abortion rights and blah 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 and all this other stuff. So that's CM Punk being, I guess, kind of the chaser to Roman Reigns' statements there. So I mean, look, Punk is who he is. No one's really surprised about any of the things that he just says there. I mean, if you followed CM Punk for the last 20 years, everyone knows that he's a giant bag of douche. He's done nothing to try to cover that up in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, this is the guy you're going to get whether you're like it or you're not. And WWE brought him back, so he feels like he's on top of the world at the moment. So any comments on CM Punk's comments before we move on here?
Nope.
Yeah, like I said, he's like, oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's CM Punk. Punk.
It's like I said, at this point, what more can you say? It's like
it's Punk. That's how Punk is. I still like him too. That's the worst part. I still like the guy.
I will be honest with you. I've never liked CM Punk in any iteration, and Punk was one of the guys that made me hate wrestling for a while because, like I said, with Daniel Bryan, it's like Daniel Bryan's a cool enough dude, and it's like I actually like him as someone as a wrestler, so I never really got angered with like the Daniel Bryan love or anything like that. The Punk love I just never understood because it's like he's not that great of a wrestler. His only great promos is when he's whining about something, which really explains his personality. That his best promos is when he's upset about something, how he feels like he's been wrong when he likely hasn't been like at all whatsoever. But to me, I've just never been a Punk guy in any iteration. And to be quite honest with you, this is probably all Tony Khan's fault because if Tony Khan was such a massive mark who wanted to bring CM Punk back to wrestling so he could be like, oh, he's with my company, and then that blew up in his face almost immediately. It's like if it wasn't for you, Punk would probably still be at home pretending like his dog is his child with his wife that he's been married to for 11 years. So that's it. Now I want to finish up with this conversation because this is something we kind of alluded to last week of the Celebrity Big Brother story, which somehow blew up on YouTube. Mickey Rourke got kicked off of Celebrity Big Brother with like a week because he was basically harassing the lesbian singer girl who was on the show, who, by the way, ever since Mickey Rourke got kicked off, she's been getting very, very cozy with one of the other guys who's in the house. So apparently Miss I'm a lesbian now and I'm in a lesbian relationship got switched back to her default settings very quickly after being stuck in a house with a handsome guy that she can't get rid of. So that's a whole conversation we'll have later on here. But if you guys have heard of Celebrity Big Brother, I mentioned this last week. I did used to watch Celebrity Big Brother back in the day, and obviously back in the day, we're going to the context here of 2006. If you guys don't know the kind of the UK version of Big Brother, it's more of a popularity contest, but at the same time, it is an absolute shit show entertainment. I will say this, as much as I call things brain rot entertainment, this is absolutely brain rot entertainment. And I figure that I share a little bit with you guys here, going all the way back to 2006 to show you what is referred to as the greatest Big Brother UK season was also the season that had so many things happen. You probably wouldn't believe it unless I explained it all to you in grand detail. So I'll show you a little bit of this video here. This is 2006, Davina McCall, who was the host at this time here. This kind of give you a little vibe of what Big Brother used to be. This is a studio out somewhere in the UK. Who knows? They got thousands of people lined up here. There were actually people who were excited to the point where they would line up outside like they're at a concert or something like that just to see what no-name who gives a fucks are going to be in the house for 90 days that they can vote on. This is, you probably wonder why the UK is in the situation that it is right now, but let's go play this video here.
Viewers, you have 15 seconds to say goodbye to the summer. Big Brother's coming to get you.
Can you give me a pause for just a second?
Go ahead.
It is really surreal for the country where 1984 was set to be like, Big Brother's gonna come and get you. It's very surreal for Airstrip 1 to be like, yay, oppression.
As I told you, the excited.
Room
These people are not.
Room 101.
These people are not
Room
subtle.
101.
They're not subtle about anything that they do. It's like for guys like us to be like, do you guys not see what they're doing here? Do you guys not understand like what's happening here? And then it's like, nope, not at all. Look at all these degenerates. Just look at it. So I wanted to show this here real quick. It doesn't really care too much about the show here. These are all people who thought that they can like work their way onto the Big Brother house. It didn't end very well for them. But these are the features.
Sorry, I think I'm gonna be sick.
Pick me! Sausage!
The search is over.
Yeah, so essentially what they did, they basically said, it's like, give us a reason why we should let you in our house for 90 days. And people have to basically do their best 1 minute impersonation of why they're a complete freak who could be on television and draw ratings for the show. So that was the objective here. Now, I will say this before I completely bury what we're about to see here, is that if you're a fan of Big Brother and you're used to like the US version of the show, because there's a US version and UK version, the house in the UK version is vastly superior to the US one. The US one basically looks like you're in, I wouldn't even call it a penitentiary. Like you look like you're in a box, and that's going to be your home for the next 6 months. At least the UK did go all out with like being creative with their sets and their home. So I'm going to give you guys a little home tour of what the Big Brother UK house looked like then. Now, I haven't watched the show in years. I don't know what it looks like at the moment, but this is at the time period when this show came out.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this rape culture that's going on here with fucking
Give me a cuddle too, like here first. Yeah. Thank you.
Whoa!
The theme of this year's house is
Well, you don't defend women.
Inside out. So everything that you would think would be inside.
I mean, it should stay
is
up on
outside
YouTube.
and vice versa. So here's the dining room table. It is, as you can see, outside. It's got enough chairs for all the housemates. It's got this very dynasty style chandelier sort of hanging from here.
Is it a fake?
And then we
Is
go
it fake
over here,
sky?
we find an outside seating area.
No,
Now,
so
what I
in
love
case
about
you guys
these
are
chairs is
wondering,
they've
that is where
in
their
rubber,
dining room is. They just
which
built
obviously
it
means
all
that they
outside.
are immune from all the rain and everything. But it also means all those slidey housemates that are going to be covered in sort of baby oil from baking themselves in the sun, just going to slide off, aren't they? And this is even coated in rubber as well, the lampshade. Now, over here we've
I like
got
how
the
Dr.
pool,
Seuss put this whole
which
room
is
together.
really, really warm. I'm sure they'll all be in there tonight. Now, you remember last summer, there was a bit of hanky-panky in the pool. And we weren't sure
them to have a little hanky-panky in the pool.
they had or they hadn't. Well, this time they're not going to be able to get away with anything because there is an underwater camera. Now, I know you can't say anything now.
So if someone's fucking in this pool, we're gonna know it.
I think you could see that I was doing. Yeah, did you like that? Now, these are my little humps.
Well, the
my
guys
lovely
running the
lady humps.
cameras will
And
know
this is
it.
where housemates can sit on little grassy knolls. And
The
here is
DVD
a sort
company
of
will know it.
outside kitchen.
Well, you got to
Basically,
remember,
if you
the
have a good
UK
summer,
is a
all
bit more
housemates are gonna
loose
do all
with
the
their
cooking, I would
nudity
imagine.
laws. I think it
With
has to be like
a
after a certain
Barbie.
time
Is
period.
there a ghost? What the hell is that?
Barbie to die for. Look at that.
Wait a minute. This could be. Wait a minute. No. Pause.
That was the ghost of General Beauregard.
Did somebody
someone
just
just
have
open
their? Did somebody just have their World War Hawk moment where they walked into the shot too early?
No. Did someone just open up this fucking TP and make the space not happen?
Grassy
Come on, what the hell?
knolls. And here is the
No,
sort
let me
of
go over here.
outside kitchen, basically. I mean, if we have a good summer, this is where all the housemates are going to do all their cooking, I would imagine. With
Somebody was like, "Oh shit, they're live."
Oh crap!
Barbie to
Damn it! The space capsule. Close it. Damn it, the space
all the men. Look at
It was like she said, "We're live, you dumbass." It's like, "Oops, sorry."
fabulous.
That'd be a fun Black
And
Mirror
here we have the
episode.
inside part of the kitchen. because
That's
obviously if it's gonna
the
rain,
filming
you know, it
set
goes
where they
to
did the
somewhere
Blue
protected.
Origin landing,
Um,
and that was Gail King
Yep.
accidentally
They've
walking
got
in
the
here.
outside
You know?
inside.
Woo!
On the floor. I don't know if you can see that clearly enough, but let's go into the bedroom. Okay, there's space for all the housemates in here. The difference is that there are 3 double beds. So there's
I didn't
one
want
over
to say,
there
but everything
in
looks
the
like
corner.
cum.
There's one here by the window,
the
and there's one here. Now this one is different from all the other beds because this
I was
is
gonna
Yeah,
say,
this
it
was
looks like a
Channel
marble
4.
fudge.
so.
That's much better. Thank you,
and
Sai.
so
I didn't want
happy.
to.
And actually
It's so
quite
early in the
warm, so I
morning.
think the water must be heated, but incredibly hard for a pregnant lady to get out of.
So you thought,
gracefully,
like,
so I'm just
being a
gonna-
pervert would be better than coming off as a diabetic. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, look at me. Come on. Everyone already knows I'm a diabetic.
I'm going to go down to the bathroom. Can I just say that bed there is the one that Chris Moyles slept in the night he came in?
She's
Why would she know that? Did she
Okay,
sniff the
so
carpet?
this
What the hell?
is the bathroom. It's big enough for 5 housemates, or 6 if you want to put 2 in
8
the bath,
urinals.
bath
That's a
back.
good way to go.
Got the
So what are
shower
we
over
supposed to
here,
do? Hold
loo over
hands with
here.
that urinal
But
over there? Your
these-
butt cheeks are gonna be touching.
These
Look at
are
that.
urinals. Look straight ahead. look straight ahead.
So when you're looking at your own junk trying to piss into the pot, you got a camera that's right in front of you.
Right, you can tell this wasn't made for dudes. There should be one urinal just so they can separate the two dudes between each other.
Okay.
Women have
Out
no
we go.
idea how
I'm gonna
penises
show you
work.
the living
No.
areas.
No.
Haven't got much time left. Right. So.
I thought you had to pee.
Now,
What are
one
you
of the
doing?
quite weird things about this house, I mean, we've had it before, but not to this extent, is all the glass walls.
It's the cocaine
You've got the
rooms.
glass
It's
wall in the
amazing.
bedroom, the glass wall out to the garden, and the glass wall into the living room, which means there is no privacy. And the house is smaller.
There's no privacy.
So it feels a lot more claustrophobic. And don't
They're
forget, there are
aluminium.
more housemates than usual, so there's not much space. Lots of puffs in here. I always find
Well, that's a little.
There's in there.
Oh, goodness gracious.
crikey. Sitting room. Right. Now, these look super uncomfortable, but I
After
have
the whole
to say,
fags
even though
incident.
they're made out of
Yeah, right.
plastic,
Hey, but then again,
they're
you know, if you just want to go home and not have to suffer
rubber
anymore, just
seats,
call
so they're
somebody a
more
fag. They'll
comfortable
kick
than
you off
think.
really
This is the
quick.
egg
They're all.
Maybe that's what
all,
Mickey Rourke's thing
over
was.
here.
all this furniture is made of Crocs.
Exactly. He was like, fuck this plastic baby furniture, man. Who do I have to call a fag to get kicked off of here?
Can I say this? I have not seen one comfortable piece of furniture in this entire tour.
No.
It's like you're gonna leave this house with back problems.
Even the toilet looked like it wanted to hurt you. You know?
Yeah.
The bidet wants to kick her ass.
Very bright, but possibly one of the
The bidet that
loveliest
got
things about this
revenge.
room is this.
It just sprayed too long.
Did you see that?
Oh, that's nice. That's actually kind of neat.
Oh, it changes colors.
It's almost like there's a control
can
that
change
does that,
colour
like
with
the
mood.
clapper
So
that
if
we've
it's a
had
hot
since
mood, it'll
1988.
make it red, and if it's a cold mood or
She should have just went clap on, clap off, and it would have been way better.
You know what the worst part is? I used to have one. I used to say the song because I thought that was part of the gimmick. Like you had to do that in order for it to work.
It's like vocal recognition.
Right.
Go in.
I appreciate the swirly swastika in the middle of here. We could go confess your sins. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So
why is that throne look like the face of Satan?
So literally, the staple of the Big Brother television show is that there's basically a small room that you can go into and confess all your feelings, your true feelings about everyone in the house without people hearing you. So you can say whatever you want inside of there, and then no one can know like how you really truly feel about them. So you can
Until
backstab
it's aired
people
on
if you
global
want
television.
to. Yeah, it'll be aired on global television, but the other housemates won't know like what's going on here. So yeah.
Until they see it.
This is also how Japanese VAs do their work.
That's so camp. Oh, I love it. I love it. I think this is my favourite one
It's like
so
a
far.
Doctor Who set.
It's got
It's
a
a
slight
giant-
feeling of the
it's a
lunatic
giant
asylum to it with the
thing, you know.
sort of padded
Again,
walls and
early in the morning.
It's very leather. It smells like new car in here. Very, very sexy. You know what?
It smells like gay car in here. Not the Jimmy kind.
Very
Do you
sexy.
know what we need? I think we need some housemates.
So here's the thing.
I
They're
don't
gonna
know.
start. They're gonna start introducing people onto the show here, right? So obviously, you guys have no context of who these people are. I do have context who these people are, so I'm just gonna give you a quick little rundown of everyone who was on this show and what happened to them. It was literally a disaster this entire season. Some of the people are no longer with us, and we'll get to the reason why they're no longer with us. But so this woman here, as you say, was Bonnie. I'm gonna cut off some of the audio here only because they play music, and of course they'll get copyright claim, whatever the case is. But this is Bonnie. She was very, very boring. Just wasn't really that interesting. She was literally the first person who left the show.
Our most interesting bit right here.
Yeah. So she was the 2006 version of like a basic bitch. And you see her. She was the first one to enter, whatnot. Then you have this individual here. His name was Pete. So I guess for this instance, they were like, hey, we need to get some wild and crazy characters here. Let's put a guy with severe Tourette's and other mental issues onto the show and then leave him in a house with a bunch of freaks for 90 days and see what happens, right? So they brought him in there, and he was ultimately the guy who won the entire thing because Pete was a pretty decent dude. I don't think anyone like disliked Pete. And like obviously his, disabilities made people adore to him more. He wasn't nearly the most insufferable person who got into this house. He ended up winning the whole thing, even though, like I said, had a multitude of issues here. I mean, you can see him getting out of the car here.
I like him already. I could totally believe I'd be like this in 2006.
Yep.
He would at least like to find Osama bin Laden in the house, which is unlikely.
Oh, that's why there's no cell phones.
Actually,
Yeah.
I hate signs. I like that sign.
Trees and for them to whistle back. It also looks like he quite loves the cameras, which is good. If he fancies someone, he meows.
If I'm not mistaken, he also legitimately fell down the stairs going into this place.
There it is.
Honey, I'm home.
Oh my god, dude.
Easy man. You what? Fucking hell. Wasn't that a bit nuts?
So that
You're
was
locked in here with 6 months with this guy. Good luck.
When the basic meets the Tourette's.
I forgot this guy's name. I think it was George, but
I think it was
he was,
Lady?
yeah, a 19-year-old at the time. He was basically another basic bitch, except for the guy version of a basic bitch. So he didn't last long. So the thing with the show is that you actually do have the opportunity to walk out if you want to, because legally they can't force you to stay there if you don't want to. So he took the option of basically, like, you know, he took the option of just walking out because he didn't feel comfortable being on the camera anymore. So he left. And then you have this individual here. This guy was Shabazz. And as you can see here...
What? He's something new now?
Here we
It
go.
still is for the moment, but as you can tell here, super effeminate homosexual Arab guy, 40 years old, not employed. He caused a whole lot of issues. Now, here's the story. The story is that he apparently lied to the producers about the extent of his mental instability, and as a result, he turned the entire house against them within literally 72 hours, to the point that they had to remove him for the show for his own well-being because it got so bad that he basically threatened to kill himself. And they were like, "Yeah, okay, now we're liable for stuff now, so you gotta go, buddy."
Wow.
I like how he broke Big Brother. We're liable now. We got to get him out of here. We're liable.
Like, literally the straw that broke the camel's back is like, well, everyone was sleeping. He took all of the food that was in the refrigerator and then hid it in the den outside. And then they found it after it all spoiled. So they had no food and they realized that it was him. And basically everyone wanted to kill this guy. So... yeah, and then after the fact, they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy was completely warped. He should have never been here, like, in the first place." So that was the end of him. The next woman you'll see here is somebody else who has severe mental issues. This is Leah, who, as you can tell, has severe body dysphoria, whatever the name of it is. Dysmorphia. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
If that means her tits are crooked, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And keep in mind, she was only like 30-something here, like in her late 30s at that point, even though she looks like she's almost 60 at this time period. But yeah, she was another one that had a whole healthy...
Those ridiculous bolt-ons, dude. Oh my gosh.
I mean, she's literally having a belt buckle that says fake. What more do you need here, right?
Yeah. Back when they made those.
So, like I said, she was in here for a while. She wasn't terrible, but she wasn't that great either. When she left the house, she became a porn star, so there was that.
No
and
way.
She currently has an OnlyFans right now.
What?
So
70-year-old woman has an OnlyFans. How about
that?
that?
So if you want to watch a 54 or 5-year-old woman with bolt-ons on OnlyFans, you can go find her somewhere in the ether. She exists somewhere. So there's Leah. Like I said, we haven't even gotten to like the worst of these people here. This was Imogen, a seemingly attractive, nice little like posh girl in the UK. Two things happened here with Imogen that made her infamous. One is that she ended up dating a guy on this show that got accused of rape after the fact. We'll talk about that here as well. And then she also was in a very infamous affair with a football player named Ryan Giggs. I know that means nothing to Americans, but he was a very popular footballer for Manchester United at the time.
Oh, this is what she's based on Ted.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is, right?
Yeah. So she slept with a footballer, Ryan Giggs, and then basically it was a massive scandal at the time period because he was married to somebody else and she was basically just, a bimbo for the most part. So her entire run of the show is just having a very, very terrible taste in men in general. So Who else do we have here? I think this is
Ted
Mikey.
Laszlo. Ted Laszlo. Yeah, that's what it was.
So here's the thing. So Mikey was on this show. He's kind of a twat, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, but ultimately, due to a weird twist of fate of everyone in the show being a complete mess, he ended up being one of the best people on the show because he got with this girl called Grace, who we'll see later on here, and they ended up getting married, and they're still married to this day. So if you're looking for like the most normal of people on this entire show, he ended up being basically the one that actually kind of made it through pretty okay through everything.
I was gonna say he looks like Peanut Butter Gamer. Remember Peanut Butter Gamer?
Ouch.
He really does.
I was like, oh shit, Peanut Butter Gamer is in the UK Big Brother. Goddamn, good for you, bro. Ghost ride the whip across the Atlantic. All right.
This woman is called Dawn. She got kicked off of the show within a week, and the reason why she got kicked off of the show was because they caught her
character.
They caught her cheating on the show. What do I mean by cheating?
You cheated Big Brother.
So what happened was that she had people on the outside who would watch the show, and basically they would watch the show, and when it felt like the people at home were turning against her and that she was ruining her reputation, they would send her basically a message of an emergency at home, basically like, you need to come home, something has happened. And then it was something that she had communicated with the person involved where they figured out, wait, something here doesn't look right. They basically found out that she was getting outside information from the show, which is a big no-no on Big Brother because you're supposed to be separated from the outside world at the time you're on the show. And then they found out that she found a way to game the system essentially and kicked her off as a result of that. So she got kicked from the show thanks to cheating.
Wow, that is diabolical.
I
hope she found her way into MI6.
Oh, and another thing, she was a bitch. Like she was such a
bitch. I mean, no.
Face like that? No way.
She was, yeah. Put it to you this way: had she had not gotten kicked out, she probably would have been the first person gone.
She would have owned Nigeria by now.
Yeah, right. But yeah, this is just a smorgasbord.
Oh my god, she became it with fake hair and everything.
Yes.
Discount Sharon Osbourne.
Ugh.
This guy is Pete. I mean, not Pete. Glenn. He was the other guy who was on the show.
God, he spelled it with a Y. That's horrible.
He's a lifeguard from Wales. So this is how he talks.
That proves I'm very popular. I feel as though I can express myself better when I haven't got any clues on. I am good looking.
Oh, that's a neat trick.
Yeah, right. Now, believe it or not, Pete is another sorry, I keep saying Pete. Glenn is another guy who, despite his lack of clothes here, he turned his life around quite a bit too. He actually ran for office in the UK not too long ago, and now I think he's actually an ordained minister in Wales too. So, like I said, a guy who's like 18 years old, not exactly the brightest, but he was one of the better guys on the show. And then you look at him versus everyone else who's come on the show afterwards, he actually was pretty well off. So,
and then one day, Jesus said to me, "Keep your fucking pants on, you twat."
Exactly.
And I was like, all right.
Fair enough.
So here you have Richard. So Richard was basically there to be the stereotypical gay man from the show. Now he's actually from Canada. So he was a Canadian who went to the UK to be on this show. And Richard is basically every effeminate, stereotypical gay man you can possibly think of in your life. Like, he's that guy. Like, he's the guy right now who probably listens to Lady Gaga and Madonna on like repeat.
He's working out, yeah.
This just means that he wishes he was Shabazz.
Hold on. I think we got popped there for a second.
He wishes he was Shabazz. Terrible. Oh, we're cut? Boom.
Yeah, they cut us. Yeah, I think it was probably due to the song, because I think once we got to a certain part, that's when they cut us off there. But we'll fix it here.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that England's a country sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I'm so happy we got
They give us a lot of gruff. They're like, "Oh, you cheeseburgers over there on your colonist, you cheeseburger colonist." And then they're like, "By the way, you have an several effeminate gay men